What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 39. And today we're going to talk about the week that was in week 14. Kicking it off this evening from Hillsdale, New Jersey, coming off of a very interesting matchup that we are excited to talk about. Birthday boy, Mike Haber. Mike, happy birthday to you. We missed you on your birthday, but we are happy to have you back once again. How are you?
Doing great, Joe. Thanks so much for having me back. It feels like it's been forever, but it's only been 2 weeks. But I'm thrilled to be back with all three of you again. My softball game was canceled tonight because of the bad weather here in Jersey, and I was kind of excited because I was like, okay, I can actually do the show this week and be with all three of them. So I'm excited to be here, excited to break down week 14 with you guys.
Awesome, man. We're excited to have you. Joining us from Denver, Colorado, the Pete Alonso fan, rooting for our boy in the home run derby, Jason Ashby. How are you this evening, my friend?
Doing fine, Joe. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm ready for a three-peat. I got the derby on right in front of me. It's gonna be a fun night. I can't wait to break this down.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be great this evening. And finally, the reigning, defending, undisputed world heavyweight Bigs champion 3 times over, and the commissioner of our league, the reason we are all here, Ben Nisman. Ben, how are you doing this week, my friend?
Joe, I appreciate the introduction as always, but I have to disagree. I truly believe you are the reason we are all here, and I'm very grateful, and I'm happy to be back with all 4 of us being on the panel again. It's been a while since we've had us all, and it's always the best show, I feel like, when we have us all, when we have all of our opinions involved. And it was just another crazy week as always, and it's a ton to unpack this week. We'll try to get it all in one show. There's a lot to do. So, Joe, please, God, lead us off, buddy.
Here we go, boys. Let's dive into it and start off with the guy at the head of the household. This guy right here taking another 15-5 win over Costas Paragas this week. Going into Sunday, it was 14-6. And Costas had 1 fewer error, and he erred on Sunday. And walks by a pitcher were tied, and Costas untied that. Close categories this week. I won by the triple. I won by a win. I won by 2 losses. I won by 2 walks by the pitcher, like we spoke about. 3 ticks on the whip, and a relief appearance. For Costas, he wins by 3 steals. He wins by 4 strikeouts by a batter. He wins by 1 save and 4 strikeouts. We tied in errors. For me on my bench this week, Benjamin, 4 for 23.
Oh, thank God. It's not that bad. It's pretty horrible. It's good job, out of you. 167. I don't know.
175. He almost got it. With 3 runs.
Sorry to take that much time getting there.
That's all right, man. 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, and an error. None of it plays. Okay, so last week we talked about my strategy of targeting series. This week was no different because the San Diego Padres had a 4-game series in Colorado. My moves this week: Anthony Santander gets dropped for Luke Voit. Ryan Tepera gets dropped for Ryan McMahon. Ha-Seong Kim gets dropped for Nomar Mazara. Luke Voit then gets dropped 2 days later for Ha-Seong Kim because he went 0 for 7. Ryan McMahon gets dropped the next day for Ryan Tepera. And it's at this point I'm saying I need to be patient. The matchup is really close, but I just need to continue to be patient. And then Friday came. Ha-Seong Kim gets dropped for Jose Iglesias. Nomar Mazara gets dropped for Jose Alvarado. Jorge Alfaro gets dropped for Keegan Aiken. Ryan Tepera gets dropped for Cionel Perez. Saturday, Cionel Perez gets dropped for Drew Smith. And Jose Iglesias gets dropped for Brendan Rodgers. And finally, Drew Smith for Aaron Ashby on Sunday. All 12 ads, 6 hitters, 5 relievers, and a starter. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Costas on his bench this week. Benjamin, 0 for 3. Well done. He only had an RBI. It doesn't matter. Great job on the bench. He dropped Gabriel Moreno for Kyle Nelson. He dropped Kyle Nelson for Luis Urias. He dropped Luis Urias for Dylan Moore. He dropped Dylan Moore for Chris Martin. He dropped Nick Lodolo for Steven Matz. And then when Steven Matz got rained out for the start on Sunday, he then picked up Frank the Tank Schwindel. 6 ads, 3 hitters, and 2 relievers with a starter. Mike, you did the research on this one, man. You have a note here underneath Costas's moves. What do you want to say here?
Yeah, I felt like there were a lot of maybe not a lot, but there were a few close categories that could have been chased. I do see that ERA and WHIP are close, so he was nervous about, pushing those. But when you lose by 1 relief appearance and you still have 6 ads left to make, like, I feel like maybe there's something that could be done going into Sunday.
Let's see what's going on Sunday here. Was there a particular spot he could have utilized? Oh, there's an open SP spot right here.
Yeah, open SP spot, and you've got, 6 ads left.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, his season is arguably on the line enough to drop anyone that we might see here.
Yeah.
He might say, "There's no one really droppable, though. I want to keep all these guys." You make the argument. Well, how many more stats can you really sacrifice at this point?
Yeah.
He needs everything he can get, but he certainly can't lose anything at this point either when you're getting trucked like this. Let's talk key players, and then we'll dive even deeper into this. We'll start with my team. Jose Abreu went 13 for 30 this week, guys. 433 average, 486 on base, 4 runs, a double, a homer, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, and a strikeout. I also had a great week from Juan Soto and Brandon Nimmo. The team's hitting on all cylinders. The least valuable hitter, Ryan Mountcastle, 182 average, 217 on base, 2 runs, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The Cy Young this week is once again the timeless and ageless Justin Verlander. 6 innings, a win, 10 strikeouts, nothing earned, a 1 whip against Oakland at home. Guys, he goes into the break with 12 wins, a 189 ERA, an 088 whip, and a strikeout per inning, 109 and a third innings. Gross.
Yeah.
Spencer Strider is the Cy Yuck, 8 2/3, a loss, a homer, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 6.23 and a 1.62. Yeah, that hurts a little bit. It does, but the kid's been really good so far, and there's no reason to believe he's not going to continue it.
Mm-hmm.
For Costas, his MVP this week is Alejandro Kirk, 375 average, 400 on base, 5 runs, a double, a homer, 4 RBIs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Garrett Cooper, a 50 and a 50. With run, a double, and 9 strikeouts. That's a lot.
Yeah.
The Cy Young is Alek Manoah. That kid has really turned into everything we thought he was going to be, right? 7 innings, a win, 6 strikeouts, a 1.29 and an 0.57. He goes into the break at this point, 2.28 ERA, 10 wins, an 0.96 and 100 strikeouts. That's a pretty good first half, boys. That's exactly what they wanted out of him.
The only fear I have for that guy is, like, if Toronto falls out of this, are they going to shut him down, or are they going to try to limit his innings? That's my only fear for him.
How many did he throw last year? Across all leagues.
But they
think
were in it to the last game last year.
He threw.
Yeah.
All right, so he's at the point right now where he threw as many innings as last season in the majors. My question would be, how many innings does he have in the minors in 2021? You add that, then you add, I would say 10 to 12%, call it a day. But
Yeah.
without doing that math that quickly.
Would you
Right.
think that that team would really be sellers or fall out of it, though? I mean, I feel like they'll be hanging around till the
I think
end.
they're going to buy. I think they have to. I think their window is right now.
He only threw 18 innings in the minors last year. Everything else was in the majors.
It's only 2 more games, and he's beyond that. So we're talking another. Wow. So we're talking another 12 innings on top of that to be at my tentative goal there.
Yeah.
That's not great. That's not great. We'll hit his Cy Young. We'll gather ourselves here with this one. Josh Hader has a bad week. 3 relief appearances, an inning and a third, 2 losses, a save, 4 bombs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a 60-75. And like that's a total you spend at a restaurant and a 6 whip.
That's the tip.
Yeah.
Insanity. Guys, this is my matchup. Benjamin, I will kick it to you first, sir. The floor is yours.
You know, there's not too much to this, in my opinion, except for the fact that Costas's pitching was keeping it close for a while. And, you know, this was pretty neck and neck. Joe basically had the edge the whole time, but it was cool how Costas was able to keep it close. And then by the end of the weekend, Joe had a plan. It worked out. And he did the whole league a huge favor, because at this point, everyone needs Joe to just keep winning. It just seems like almost an oxymoron to think about, like, how we want him to win, but like for our help.
You're welcome.
We need
My
him to keep doing
success is
that.
the bounty of everyone else.
Yes, thank you, Joe. Dearly.
I am a gracious God. That's going on TikTok, I guess.
We'll see.
My sincerest apologies. Moving on. Jason, what did you see here, man?
Yeah, it's it's another Joe whooping. Whether it was close, maybe it was close at some point during the week, but the end result is a 15-5 whooping, and probably puts Costa's season pretty much to bed. Sorry to say, but he's down here with the rest of us, and you're sitting pretty at the top. So I think we know where you're headed.
Thank you for that. Mike, you did the research on this one, my man. And I'll piggyback off of what Jason just said here. Is Costas' season over? He's 22 under 500. It looks like he's 13 back of a playoff spot with 7 weeks to go.
But last year at this time, we were saying the same thing, right? Like, this guy's out of it. There's no chance. So I'm not going to say that yet. And I do think last year at this time, he changed his team name to Great Apes. And he went on that crazy run. He got rid of Brook Dogs and changed it to Great Apes, and then went on a run. So I don't know. I think he's got a bigger hill to climb this year. He's got more teams ahead of him. I think his team, I don't think, is as complete as it was last year. I've had concerns with his offense from day one. He had a couple good weeks in there, but I feel like they're kind of struggling a little bit again.
One trade in the pocket. Remember, one trade in the pocket.
One trade in the pocket. And that he's got to use that wisely. He's got to get a big bat in this lineup.
But if you're him, what are you offering up to get a big bat? Ben? Any idea?
I don't know. I'd have to look thoroughly at his schedule personally to see who he could compete with in the bullpen. But if he thinks he can still compete with the bullpen, then he can't trade that. If he doesn't think he can, then maybe he cuts one of those guys, or I should say trades one of those guys for the bat if he thinks he can afford losing it,
Jimmy, Ari, Frank, Lebo, Sherman, Haber, Levy. And it's Mike Haber.
It's a mixed bag there.
Yeah.
It's tough. He's going to need them. So he might prefer whatever falls into free agency. I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, I'd have to agree with Mike. I think he does have to use it, because at this point, whatever is working, you have to really hope for a lot of luck based on who's playing who with 7 weeks left to try to jump that much. Because I can't really say he controls his own destiny. Even if he wins 7 in a row, I think unless they're real killers, every single time or often, he'd need a lot of help from other teams at certain points.
Thing is, he's only done that once this season. He did his Christian 15-6. That's his biggest win.
And what week was that?
8th.
So he doesn't get him again. Huh.
He immediately turned around and lost 14-4 to you. You add in this 15-5 and a couple of 12-7s along the way, and look, man, he's only won 1, 2, 3. He's only won 4 weeks.
Yeah, he's had a tough season, and it doesn't get easier. Like you heard those teams on the schedule. I mean, it's going to be a grind every single time. So, but the way I think about it, like he's what 14 stats away from a playoff spot last night. I thought
13.
that was the math.
13.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean that's definitely gettable. You know, when you think of it at that point, it's just that how many under 500 is he?
22.
22.
Mhm.
So you think he'd have to, in what, 4 weeks, try to go around +5 just to get to 500. And then he still needs what we think is probably going to be about 16 over to 20 over to get in. It's a lot to do. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And unless he catches the right bat, and look, Costas grabbed Logan Webb at this point last season. You know, he's not immune to going out and picking up a piece that will really asset a team. We'll see if that happens. For me, guys, the rest of my schedule is, well, it's probably going to be some guys fighting for their lives. I get Ari this week. I get Frank next week. I get Lebo, who's probably done, but if he isn't, he will be by that point. Mike Sherman, Mike Haber, Chris Levy, and I finish with James Boston.
It's the only season I feel like you could really crush is Mike Haber if, you know, Mike is stumbling to the point until he gets to you. I don't see that happening, but that's the only one. Otherwise, I feel like they're all guys just trying to maybe knock you out of a bye, if anything. It's just, it seems based on schedule and rosters, you're in pretty good shape to hold on to the top spot.
I'm 24 games back of falling out of a bye. I feel like
that's a lot.
I feel like
that's a lot.
I think I've locked it. And if I haven't, if I beat Ari this week, I probably.
I would, yeah, and you got to think with 7 weeks left, you're not going to like lose every time, you know, like you're going to win a few of those.
So that would be my final question before we wrap this matchup up. I have 7 matchups left. Which one of these 7 guys is going to get a W?
Mike Haber.
Okay.
Yeah. He would be my him or Frank. I can see Frank.
Oh, absolutely.
I can see Frank being a real thorn in your side.
You guys are giving no credit to Chris Levy, who's already beaten me this season.
That's the thing. He's already done it, and he did it with 0 ads. I just think, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen twice in a row. That would shock me.
Okay. Hey, I am just happy to be where I am, giving the fruits of my winning to my friends who are fighting for playoff spots. We're going to move on, fellas. It's time to move on. To the next
Pete Alonso's moving on.
Pete Alonso's moving on in the home run derby. Awesome. All right, let's talk about Chris Levy. And this was another matchup that we were very excited to take a look at because we knew that Christian would be fighting for his playoff life here. And we knew that Chris, his cousin, would be saying, well, what are you going to do? What's going to happen here? Something's got to give. Chris gave him a 12-8 loss here this week, and that puts Christian directly at 500 as we go into the break at 138, 18. I think a rookie would absolutely sign up for that. But similar to a point I made last night on Big's Live, the season that Christian has had, I think he's disappointed to be stuck at 500 at this point because he saw the very, very top. We had a rookie leading the league at one point who's now in 8th and at 500. I think I would be disappointed if I was him and I was having his season. That being said, On Sunday, it was 10-8 going in. And we had home runs by a pitcher was tied, and Chris gave that one away. Strikeouts by a pitcher. Christian had a 5 strikeout lead, and Chris took that. And relief appearances were tied. Chris wins by 3 home runs, 6 RBI, 2 stolen bases, 2 wins, 3 strikeouts by the pitcher, and 3 relief appearances. Christian wins by 6 strikeouts by the batter, 2 errors, a loss, 2 home runs given up by a pitcher, and 5 walks given up by a pitcher. They tied in triples with 0. For Chris on his bench this week, Benji, 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout.
Well done.
Well done. That's 2 this week who did overs. Great job. His moves this week, he drops Yuli Gurriel for Domingo Herman, and then drops Domingo Herman for Jonathan Aranda. He then drops Tyro Estrada for CJ Abrams. He then drops Jonathan Aranda for Adrian Sampson. He drops CJ Abrams for Austin Slater and drops Akil Badu. That guy is not real, is he?
I don't know.
He dropped Adrian Sampson for JT Brubaker. He dropped Austin Slater for Brooks Raley. He drops JT Brubaker for Jose Miranda. He then drops Jose Miranda for Jorge Soler, and then dropped Jorge Soler on Sunday. 9 ads, 5 hitters, 3 starters, and a reliever. For Christian on the bench, well, Benji, here you go. 11 for 38.
Damn. Well, I know it's somewhere between 250 and 333. I'll go with.
You're correct.
Huh?
I said you're correct.
Thank God. What did we say it was again?
11 for 38.
Uh, 309.
289.
Oh, I went that far back, but okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was done.
6 runs.
Done.
2
I really
doubles.
was going to go with 280, and that would have been smarter.
He had 6 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The 5 walks would have flipped the category here. Otherwise, nothing else plays. For his moves this week, he dropped John Del Gustave for 1-800-GLEN Auto. He then dropped that guy for Caleb Thielbar. He dropped Thielbar for Braxton Garrett. Garrett for Jose Urania, and dropped Shane Baz. I believe, rest in peace, Shane Baz, 2022 season.
Yes.
Probably,
Okay.
yeah.
They're dropping like flies over them.
Yep. 4 ads, 3 starters, and a reliever. Mike, you have an even longer thing here on this research.
Sorry.
So by all means, take it away.
So what I noticed for the week for Christian was that I counted up all the players that he started this week that were not actually playing in their games. So he had 14 players total this week that were in his starting lineup that had that little red X and weren't starting that night, which was kind of jolting to see that number of 14, considering most of us in the league don't let that number reach 1 or 2. You know, like we try to get starters in there. So 14 seems like a very lopsided number for someone who only used 4 ads. So I'm curious as to what the thought process was if he wasn't around this week, but it's at least 1 or 2 every day. I think there was one day that he got a full lineup.
Tuesday. Yeah. It was the first one I clicked on where I'm going, the hell is he talking?
Every
other
the
day I
only
clicked
one.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only one where he had a full lineup.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that is given that he still struck out 52 times he won strikeouts, but only by 6. So you think if you had a short lineup like that,
50
you
fewer
wouldn't
at
strike out
bats and only good point. 50 fewer at bats roughly, and only 6 fewer strikeouts.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah.
That is a bad week, especially hitting 202 and a sub 300 on base percentage.
Yeah.
Not great.
I'm curious, but like Ben, did we know that if he was like just not around this week, or was it?
No, I haven't touched base enough, but
Hmm.
usually, yeah, I Christian's like, I mean, it seems like a school is like a big thing. Like he's in college and there's a lot of work still. So that's my guess. That's my
Okay.
guess.
All right.
Let's talk about key players this week. We'll start with Chris Levy's team, who won the week. Jake Cronenworth is an all-star, 320 and a 419. 7 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Alex Bregman is the least valuable hitter. Man, I have to give credit where it's due. Mike Haber, you called this guy was a bum this season in the preseason. Like, hats off to you on that one.
Thank you.
217 with a 308, a double, an RBI, 3 walks, a strikeout, 2 big ol' errors that lost that category. On the season, at the break, 238 batting average with 11 homers and 46 RBIs. Not great. That's the poster boy for 2019. That's the poster boy. He hit 40 home runs that year. Okay? That's the guy.
Yeah.
Cy Young is Shane McClanahan, 6 1/3, a win, 6 strikeouts, a 142 and an 047. The guy is starting the All-Star game for the American League. He is probably going to be in the hunt for the Cy Young. He's real. He's real good too. 147 strikeouts already.
In 110 innings. Oh my God.
Sick. The Cy Young could have started the All-Star game for the National League. Shout out to Tony Gonsolin here. But this week was not great. 5 innings, a homer, a walk, 6 strikeouts, a 9 whip, a 9 ERA and a 160 whip. This dude, 202 ERA and 11 wins on the season. Very nice. For Christian this week, Willie Adames is the MVP, 261 average, 346 on base, 4 runs, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter I am reading is everyone else. Adolis Garcia with 11 strikeouts and a 125. Taylor Ward at 167 and 9 strikeouts. Isaac Paredes. All of these Cinderellas turned into pumpkins this week. That's what it is. That's what these names are. And Nolan Gorman's another one. Rowdy Tellez is another one. Like, that's why the team has fallen a bit here recently, if we're being honest. Like, all of these dudes were really hot from like April to mid-May. And then maybe June. But I mean, Rowdy's hitting 227 now. Remember when he was hitting 280?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian
Guys,
does.
on the pitching side for Christian, we'll talk about Shane Bieber. Full baseball game, a win, 7 strikeouts, 1 earned, and 033 whip. The Cy Young is Keegan Thompson, 4 1/3, a loss, 4 walks, a strikeout, a 1038 and a 277. Let's talk about this one, Mike Haber. You researched it. Let's talk about it. What do you got for us?
Yeah, not only was I researching it, but I was watching it very closely because of how close Christian and I are in the standings. And I've been kind of inching closer and closer as the weeks have progressed. So this was definitely a must watch for me. Chris Levy took care of business here. He didn't have the greatest week he's had this season, but he did what he needed to do to surpass someone that I'm not sure if he, like I said earlier, I don't know if Christian was just not around for a lot of it, but I saw Chris Levy take advantage of that. And I'm happy about it, but you can't give the number 2 seed all of these opportunities. Like, if I look at my opponent's lineup for a day and there's 3 guys that have that little red X, like, I'm excited about that. It's going to give me energy. It's going to like pump me up. And yeah, it's going to
motivate you in theory to go pick somebody up to fill in something that you might not. Right.
Exactly. So he gave Chris Levy extra motivation, which I'm sure Chris didn't need playing against his cousin, but he took care of business and he's holding really strong in that number 2 seed. So I'm confident in him.
Jason, I'm looking at his schedule here, and he won 5 of his first 6 weeks. However, in week 7, he faced me and I beat him 11-9. And since then, he has lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of 8 and has tumbled back to 500.
Oof.
And we just saw that much of this team is built on people who were hot in the first half, but are starting to sputter. Do you see this as a team that can turn around and push back into the playoffs, or where do you see him going?
Well, I guess you wanted to comment on your opening about this, about him being, a rookie manager who, look, he came into this league of blazing, right? He was on top of the world, and now he's fallen down to earth here. And but if I'm him as a rookie, I'm not disappointed. I'm disappointed, but I'm happy with knowing what I've done so far. And I look at the other rookie of the league, and he's currently at the bottom of the standings. So to at least be in the middle of the standings and be a rookie in this league is impressive. Shows how well he did at the beginning of the season. I'm hoping that he's taking this tumble as a learning experience of what the bigs is about. Checking your lineups, knowing that, maybe a guy like Rowdy Tellez, maybe he's, falling apart. Maybe you find another first baseman somewhere, or whatever it is. You make those adjustments to your roster so that you can turn it around and you can, build your way back up. And maybe after a season or two, maybe he'll learn these tips and tricks. But
Yeah.
I have all the faith in him that he's a force in this league.
I love what you just said, Jason. I like the idea of like the veterans in this league being able to anticipate when hot streaks are ending and when cold streaks are starting. And that's something that like it takes practice. It's a skill that you have to hone. And for a rookie to be able to like grasp that, like he's done incredible with what he's had so far, but like that's the kind of thing that you need a little more experience to figure out.
Exactly.
Still 3 more trades in the bag for him here. Ben, do you see him making any kind of move?
A move I couldn't tell you. To answer your first question, if I could, the question you asked to Jason rather, on whether he could make the playoffs. My answer is absolutely. I think Bryce Harper could be back in just enough time, and if he's hot out of the gate, that could be enough to carry him. 7 weeks, we might, it seems like it's relative, like whether it's a lot of time or it isn't a lot of time, right? Because it's a third of our season, because we went with 21 weeks. We're going into this final third, but it is the last third.
It's
so
the third trimester.
Yeah. Sure. It's you can evaluate at this point how many wins and by how many you need to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at that almost breaking point now where it's pretty critical to not take a crushing loss. And I think he's capable of avoiding those losses. I still think he's a really, really good manager. For a first-time manager, for a guy that has a lot on his plate off the field, I think he'll be okay. I'm not too concerned with him yet, because he's right there, and all you need to do is just go on that streak. If anything, he's very due.
No doubt. Losing 7 of 8, he is absolutely due.
And on the others, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Please.
The only win he's got in that time is 14-4 over Brian Lebo. His schedule the rest of the way: James McCloskey, Jimmy Dunlap, Ben Nisman, Bobby Russo, Jason Ashby, Josh Haber, and Matt Losey. Ben, how do you feel about that schedule going forward?
It's challenging. I mean, it's pretty challenging. It's all guys that really are hungry just to get a win, no matter where they are in the standings. And I beat him 15-5. So if like law of averages play out, he's going to play a much closer matchup, if not win that one. So like I said, I believe in him. I think he's good enough to do this. It's the most interesting thing about this matchup was that they're cousins. Chris brought him into the league. I've talked about how, Chris had asked me on 2 different occasions on this guy coming in, and I had turned him down because we had other guys that I had asked first. And I almost felt like it was like I'm the rabbi and Chris is almost the person that needs to convert to Judaism. And I turned him down the first 2 times to see how truly committed he is, or in this case, his cousin is, to joining the league. And he has not turned, he hasn't disappointed us. I think he's really had a good showing.
Did you make him get circumcised?
I'm coming to the bar mitzvah.
I wanted to let him know there are no hard feelings, no matter what.
Okay. Ooh, nice pun.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm no Jason, but it was okay. He hasn't disappointed us, and I'm happy he joined the league because he's been really enjoying it. This was a fun thing for all of us to watch, curious about who was going to win it. Chris had the lead, but then Christian slowly closed. I mean, this was a lot bigger of a lead at a certain point, and Christian closed it. It was tied at one point. There was a moment where Christian had a 9-8 lead, but it wasn't long. And Chris did what he's been doing, which is just impressing all of us. We're coming to expect wins from him now, just saying he gets it. I mean, this is a guy this is his 9th year, but he means business. Looks like he's going to the playoffs, barring a major collapse, if he doesn't get in. So I'm super proud of him. I say I'm proud of him every single week, but I'm not going to stop because I really am proud of him and how seriously he's taken it. And he's always taken it seriously. I think the intellect into this particular format and this game, he's kind of turned that switch and he's taken it to a new level. And I'm really, really excited to see it.
He has lost only 3 times this season. To Mike Haber 15-4, to Josh Haber 10-7, and to Bobby Russo in week 1, 11-8. That's it. He's beaten everybody else. And that is to be commended. There's a reason he is sitting in the 2 spot and fairly comfortably. 13.5 back here. I don't see a reason to make a trade on this team, so keep it trucking. Just like, I'll see you in the playoffs, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get this. This is the coming out story that Josh Haber had last year, that Frank Bucco had in 2020, that Jimmy Dunlap and
Jason Ashby.
Jason Ashby had in 2019. That's right. Jason Ashby with 2019. Every year we get one of these. Now let's see when one of these actually closes the deal and finishes it off. I want to see that year. Chris, this could be you, man. This could be you this season. I'm really rooting for it. I know the rest of the panel here is as well, because we like seeing guys get into the playoffs for their first time. Moving on to the next matchup, interestingly enough, is Jimmy Dunlap taking on James McCloskey, and McCloskey getting a 9-8 win here. It was actually 10-9 McCloskey going into Sunday. And on Sunday, James McCloskey led by 1 steal, and Jimmy tied that. However, Jimmy led by 1 loss, and he lost a game. So that tied that category. Close categories, Jimmy won by 2 runs. He won by, that's it, a triple for games, and the ties were in steals, losses, and saves and errors. For Jimmy on his bench this week, Benjamin, this is a good one. 13 for 40.
It's not terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible. Yeah, I do. It's not ideal for Jimmy, I'll say that right now.
It's not.
328.
325.
Nice.
Well done, Benjamin. 9 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 2 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Obviously, the 2 glaring ones are the triple and the steal. The triple exists on the 13th here on Wednesday. And what we've got is essentially he wasn't able to get his outfield straight this week. And we saw a lot of shuffling around of those particular guys. On this particular Sunday, or I'm sorry, Wednesday, rather, we've got Hunter Dozier here on the bench, 2 for 4 with a run, a triple, an RBI, and a steal. Or I'm sorry, a strikeout. Nick Senzel's not playing here. Laureano can move in. Dozier can move in. Or you just don't play Jonathan Scope, who went 1 for 4 with an error and 2 strikeouts. Or you could play Tyro Estrada here and gotten this double. Either way, that was a bad day. And then Saturday also had a couple
and, yeah, and if you don't play Scope there, then you don't have the error, and that unties that category.
Exactly. And the steal hurts more because it's on Sunday. On Sunday, here's Tyro Estrada, the only guy he benched with a steal while that category is tied, and he tied it with Semi. But you got 2 games here. Laureano can move. You move McCutchen up, and he's in. I don't know. His moves this week. He drops Kyle Freeland for Zach Jackson, an inning and a third, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 2.25 whip, and a relief appearance. He then drops Jose Quintana for Joe Jimenez, an inning, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He dropped Andrew Bellotti for Mitch White. 5 innings, a loss, 2 homers, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 10.80 ERA, and a 2.40 whip. He drops Joe Jimenez for Brian Shaw, an inning, a homer, a walk, a strikeout, 27 ERA, a 4 whip, and a relief appearance. He drops Mitch White for Steve Cishek, 2/3 of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He drops Brian Shaw for Tyro Estrada. That's on that Wednesday that I showed you where he doubled. He drops Brendan Rodgers for Andrew McCutchen. He was 1 for 4 on the bench, also with a strikeout that same day. That's Thursday, drops Paul Blackburn for Eric Lauer. 7 innings, a homer, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 1.29 ERA, and an 0.71 whip. Jason, didn't you have him recently?
Eric Lauer, I did. And I dropped him because I was afraid of the start. And
there it is.
Shame on me.
He drops Zach Jackson for Cutter Crawford. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, a 4.50 ERA, a 1 whip. He then dropped Cutter Crawford. And on Sunday, he picks up Zach Jackson for Jonathan Scope after the bell. He adds Joe Jimenez after the bell. And he adds Jonathan Loaizaga after the bell. The MVP this week for his team is Teoscar Hernandez, 320 average with the same on base, 4 runs, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, 9 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Tyro Estrada, who had a good week. The only day that Jimmy played him was his 0 for 3. Look at the rest of the week.
Wow.
That's insanity, right?
Yeah.
Insanity. The Cy Young is Ryan Presley, 4 innings, a win, a save, 8 strikeouts, nothing earned, 3 relief appearances, all clean. Good job.
8 strikeouts and 3 appearances. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
4 innings. That's 2 strikeouts an inning by my math.
Nice.
Finally, Luis Severino is the Cy Yuck. 2 innings, 3 homers, 2 walks, a strikeout, an 18 and a 3, and a trip to the IL with shoulder issues. Mike Haber, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a good thing we've got Herman coming back. He's going to take Sevy's spot. But for Yankee fans, it was like, this is just a matter of time. When is Severino going to get hurt? Because it's coming. We know it's coming. And
yeah,
he gave us some good months. So
he did. He's been very, very good for you so far. And hopefully this is minor and he comes back and he's ready to ramp up for the playoffs. We'll see.
I hope so.
For Mr. McCloskey on his bench this week, Benjamin, he went 5 for 19.
Oh, wow. Close to perfect quarter, but just a little better or worse in James's case. I wish I just knew this by heart, you know what I mean? But I don't. 257, 258, I don't know, 258. I'll go with
263. 3 runs, 2 doubles, an RBI, a steal, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. The only thing that plays here would be that stolen base. It is on Thursday, and it's Hunter Renfroe here, who he seems to be having a problem getting back into the lineup. Here's the steal. Avisail Garcia is probably the play here. A run and a strikeout and a 1 for 5. Probably the better play is to get Renfroe
I
in.
can understand though. Garcia's playing against Pittsburgh, like probably some garbage pitcher. So I can understand that.
I get it. I get it. He only made 2 moves this week. He dropped Mitch Garver and he picked up Yuli Gurriel. His MVP this week is, of course, but who else would it be? Freddie Freeman, 632 batting average, 652 on base percentage.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's look at his game log. Look at this. It started here. 4 for 5, 3 for 3, 2 for 3, 1 for 4, 2 for 4.
Jeez.
He wasn't an all-star until that week.
632 with a 652, 5 runs, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, and surprisingly enough, an error. He's not perfect. The least valuable hitter is Hunter Renfroe, 154 with a 154, a double, 2 RBIs, and 4 strikeouts. He had a better week than that line, but again, when you're only playing him so much, that's what happens. The Cy Young is Merrill Kelly, 13 innings, 2 wins, a homer, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, a 2.08 ERA, and a 1 whip. I could see the Diamondbacks trading this guy.
Oh yeah.
This is a guy I actually could see being one of those guys that turns into like a Robbie Ray, or a Gauss, we talked about the cat on the Blue Jays. I mean, it could be this guy eventually.
Yeah, I could see that. This week he was great. 13 innings, 2 wins. We went over that already. Sonny Gray is the Cy Yuck. Where did he disappear to? Is he this one? No, he's this one. 3 2/3 with a loss, a homer, a walk, 3 strikeouts. 1473 is just a few years before Columbus comes across the Atlantic.
There
a
you go.
273 whip. Guys, 2 teams. Interestingly enough, on opposite ends of the standings, and yet the result is James McCloskey squeaking out a win here. Ben Nisman, I'm going to start with you on this one as we talk about this matchup. What have you got for us here?
Yeah, what I saw was a manager trying to fight against a roster that was just tearing up the space, basically. And I just thought that there was this small chance that this win could have been a little bit better, but I kind of figured Jimmy would figure out a way to play to the score and find a way to make it close. It was very impressive on his end. It just wasn't enough impact to help James or to hurt Jimmy in such a way to bring him that much more back to the pack. He is about 1 stat ahead of me, so I guess if I consider myself with that group, then he is too. But knowing Jimmy for the last 7 weeks, he's going to be fine. I think he could just about punch his ticket just based on roster construction and schedule and how I feel about the skill of the manager. It's been a tough year for McCloskey. He always drafts well. He always drafts a dangerous team. I think matchups hurt him a lot this year. And I think certain guys not getting out of the gate well. I think Buxton kind of burned him to an extent. It's been a tough year for him, but I said it about Christian, McCloskey, we missed him, and then he comes back here, it's just so nice to have him back. And even though he had a kid, he was making ads early in the morning, he's still taking it very seriously. I appreciate it. And I let him know that. I told him, I noticed, you're still making ads, you're playing to the score. I really appreciate you working hard, and he said, it's been a tough year. And I go, you know what though? If you're having fun, I'm just grateful that you put in the effort. So I hope he knows that it's genuine, especially because I reached out and I texted him. So, it's been a tough year, but he's a great manager, and hopefully he can do some spoiling besides against me. I hope that he just, Freddie Freeman just goes, 0 for 22, that week. But aside from that, I hope he has a really nice finish. We have a whole third, plenty of time, and Jimmy, very dangerous. He's probably in If I had to make a bet on it, I don't think that collapse is happening this time. I think he's in.
Interesting you bring that up, because this was about the time last year where we were saying that Jimmy was punching his ticket to sit down at Mike Haber's table, and that we were probably going to be seeing him locking up the 2 seed at some point. Obviously, that didn't come to pass. I'm going to read you guys the rest of Jimmy's schedule here before we dive into what happened this week. Mike Haber, I want you to react to this schedule. It is Costas Paragas this week, Christian Wood, Ari Nissman, Ben Nisman, Frank Bucco, Bobby Russo, and Brian Lebo. And Brian Lebo is the interesting one at the end there, because that's the guy who beat him in the 2020 playoffs. So if he's going to slay some demons, he's got people that he needs to go through. How do you feel about that schedule?
That's a handful. That's a tough schedule. That is the middle of the pack, hungry managers, pretty much all of them. And he's got his work cut out for him. He really does. It's not an easy schedule.
Jason, what have you got for us on this matchup? Are you thinking that Jimmy could make a slide here, or is he going to be punching his ticket like that?
I know that Jimmy is a really great manager and he has a great team. You talked about his benchings this week, and when guys are postponed and not playing and you have key stats on the bench, I just hope that that's an aberration and not becoming a trend, and that he's not gonna be distracted or something happen where he's not gonna be able to pay attention and had that slide again. Because he's very talented. He's a very good manager. It'd be nice to see him, make it up there. He can do it. He can do it if he stays focused.
Benji, his schedule looked pretty interesting with, like Mike said, a lot of playoff teams that are hungry, but he's cold right now. We always talk about when a team gets hot and whether or not that's going to be convenient for him. If this is going to be a cold stretch, it might be the right time to do it, is it not?
Right, absolutely. I think he's got that breathing room, for lack of a better term. So yes, absolutely. But I think he can withstand it to an extent, but I don't know how he's going to react. I don't know how I would react if I had 2 collapses already, and when the panic button gets pushed, when like the major cuts start happening, if that cold streak happens. So, if I feel like he might do enough math to say, look, I only need about so or so stats against each guy in order to make it in. So I don't need to go crazy, So it's like I said, I have actually no doubts at all. I almost have in my head the 6 teams that I think are going, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, we'll get to that at some point. I think mid-season show, that sounds like a small topic we'll cover.
Fun.
Right? All right.
Stay tuned.
Final question for you guys. I want to hear from all 3 of you on this one. Jimmy has made 0 trades. He's one of 4 teams that has not made a trade yet this season. Do we think he does before the deadline next week? Mike Haber, you're up first.
No, definitely not.
Probably not. I think if he was going to, he would have done it by now.
Ben?
In the words of that gentleman himself, the chances are slim and none, and slim is just, it's not even in the stratosphere. So I'm going to go with a negative percentage of a chance, if that's even possible, that he will be making a trade.
All right. We are dividing by 0. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, amazing. I'm the first person to ever do it.
You have broken the internet and the space-time continuum.
Yeah.
And you know what else you've broken, Ben? You've broken this tie with Mr. Haber. It's still a tie. I was trying to segue and it wasn't really good, but it's time to talk about this matchup. It is a 10-10 tie. We'll get into it shortly about Sunday, but 14-6 was how the day came in Ben's favor. And Ben was up by 2 runs and Mike flipped that one. Ben was up by a walk and Mike tied that. Ben was up by 30 ticks on the batting average. Mike got him there. He was up by 21 ticks in the on base percentage. Mike got him there. And they were tied in relief appearances. And Mike got him there. Close categories, Mike wins by that 1 run. He wins by 3 homers, 2 RBIs, 4 ticks on the average. What is that? A bunch of ticks on the on base percentage. A win and a relief appearance. For Ben, it's 2 doubles, 2 triples, and a save. You guys tied in walks. On Mike's bench this week, Benji, it is 2 for 8.
Cool.
It's a perfect quarter with a run and 2 walks, which would have won the category, and 2 strikeouts. And the 2 walks, looks like they come on one day. Is that right, Jason?
Yeah, it's Riley Green. Yeah,
Riley
I don't know.
Green on Wednesday right here. Who knows how you get him in? I mean,
Yeah,
oh, there you go. You just take JD Martinez out. Sure you do. It's a great idea.
easy peasy.
Yeah. No sweat. His moves this week. He dropped Michael Pineda for Bo Brisky. Are we going with Brisky? Is that how he pronounces it? All
Little
right.
brisket. Yeah.
Yeah. 6 innings, a win, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 4.50 ERA, and a 1 whip in Kansas City. He dropped Sevi Zavala for Jose Trevino, 0 for 4 with a strikeout, and he dropped Eric Swanson. You dropped Brisket for Yuli Gurriel, 1 for 3 with an RBI, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. You dropped Gurriel for Jurickson Profar is back from that horrific injury with the neck thing in his jaw. And of course he lands on Mike Haber's team. He went 2 for 10 with a double and 2 walks this week. Matt Strom gets dropped for Michael Pineda, 2 innings, a loss, 2 homers, a strikeout, a 36 and a 4.50 at Cleveland. Gross. You dropped Pineda for Stefan, who was postponed. You dropped Tavino for Gomber. Dropped Stefan for Albert Abreu, who did not pitch. And dropped Austin Gomber for Austin Slater. 2 for 3, 2 runs, a double, and 2 walks. 2 runs and 2 walks. 2 runs and 2 walks. 9 used, 4 hitters, 3 starters, and 2 relievers. Your MVP this week is Bobby Witt. It is 364 with a 382 on base. 5 runs, a double, a homer, 5 RBIs, 4 steals, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and 5 errors is gross. This dude won you a lot of categories here. His least valuable hitter was, I think I've said this too many times this year. Mike Trout?
Well, 2 at that.
He didn't
right?
play a lot. Yeah, he didn't play a lot. Yeah,
Over 2 with a strikeout. All right. The Cy Young will be Camilo Duvall. 4 innings, a win, a loss, a walk, 6 strikeouts, nothing earned, a 1 whip, and 3 relief appearances. The Cy Young, well, we talked about him. He's Michael Pineda. 7 1/3, 2 losses, 3 bombs, only 3 strikeouts. The Norman Conquest of 12.27 and a 2.18 whip. Yuck.
Nice.
Benjamin, for your bench, 4 for 30.
Wow. Nice.
Fine. I'll just be professional and try, I guess.
He hates me.
No, I don't hate you. I actually don't blame you at all. I'll get into it, man. But absolutely not. And I don't want you to think that. I'm so happy that we get to talk again, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I missed you this week. Anyway.
Yeah, I missed you too, man. But you understood. I knew you understood.
I did understand.
Our thread was very, very quiet this week.
It was
comparative, or at least you and I were.
Yeah, we were. What was the question?
30. It was 4 for 30.
4 for 30.
Which is in my case better than a 1 for 7. 1 for 7 would be 177. So 169.
A 1 for 7 is a 143. 4 for 30 is a 130. With
Okay.
2 runs that would have flipped the category. A homer, 4
No shit.
RBIs that flips the category.
No shit.
3 walks that wins the category, and 6 strikeouts, which, you know, you could have. Oh, you also could have pitched Michaelis and Anderson to wins and strikeouts.
I know that.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, you're just doing the show. Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
We're telling the masses.
For the moves, dropped Dane Dunning for Matt Foster, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance with a 1 whip. Dropped Matt. Oh, Jason, you almost got me. Matthew batten down the hatches for Didi Gregorius, 0 for 3. Miguel Castro gets dropped for Harlan Garcia, 2/3 of an inning and a 3 whip with a relief appearance. And Phil Bickford gets dropped for Mike Yastrzemski, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. You dropped Yastrzemski for Anel De Los Santos, who did not pitch.
Oh my God, here we go.
You've dropped Matt Foster for Garrett Richards, a 1/3 of an inning, a save, and
Yeah.
Save that win. That's probably my
that
only
wins the
good
category.
deci-
That absolutely
only
wins the category.
only good decision in the whole fucking week, besides maybe some benches. Literally the only thing that fucking mattered. Go ahead.
You dropped
Let's
De
go.
Los Santos for Tommy Malone.
Here it is. And
Is-
then
Oops. And then you drop Didi Gregorius and Malone to pick up Tyler McGill, who's on the IL. Jonathan VR, 1 for 4 with an RBI and a walk. Vimael the Machine, 1 for 4. Matt Foster, 0 for a 1/3 of an inning, a walk, a 3 whip, and a relief appearance. Picked him up for Jonathan VR and then dropped Foster on Sunday. You used 11, 4 hitters, 2 starters, and 5 relievers. The MVP this week, and then I promise, Ben, I will release you from your starting block. Charlie Blackmon, 423 with a 429, 5 runs, a double, 2 triples, a homer, 8 RBIs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is either Carlos Santana or Gary Sanchez, 071 and 154 respectively, with a combined 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Max Scherzer, 13 1/3, a win, a homer, a walk, 20 strikeouts, a 203 and an 090 whip. The Cy Young is either Garrett Richards or Will Smith. Will Smith has a 40-50 across 1 relief appearance. Garrett Richards, 2 innings, a 22-50. All right. Ben Nisman, floor is yours.
This was a stone cold disgrace. Heavily weighted more because of what happened last week. And I came on the show and I was cool about it because I believe that I was up 15-6 last week. It's 14-6 this week going into Sunday. Talking about at least +8 going into the final day. And then that kind of putrid, pathetic showing is what I'm starting to get used to. And that's not the worst part, because we can get into how pathetic the hitting was in the final days. We can get into what was more pathetic, and it's the person that's speaking to you all right now, because the person that's speaking to you right now is, in fact, pathetic. I feel like you are playing against, when you are playing against right now, the worst day-to-day manager I have ever seen. At this moment, on this streak, it's sad. How is it that on 2 Sundays in a row, not doing anything, literally not doing anything, wins, but doing what I did ties and drops all those categories? In fact, all I had to do was not activate Carlos Santana on Sunday, which I could have done on Saturday and gotten the 2 RBIs that would have tied it. Instead, just don't activate him, have nobody to bench left. Wisdom would be in to get the walk I would have needed to take that category. How about the fact that in the end, it's so close in relief appearances that in the last 2 minutes, I'm thinking, you know what? All that needs to happen is my giant goes in and Mike's doesn't go in, and at least I tie that category. So now I play him. Now I suspend the opportunity to use that final ad after the bell. because I'm going to play him now. Sure, he's got a game on Thursday. That's cool, I guess. But I'd rather have used it for another hitter that can play on Thursday. Instead, I use him. Mike's guy comes in. Mine does not. Fine. Okay, that was a shot, in the dark, But the fact that I'm not going to activate Carlos Santana when I've used these ads, and I'll get to in a moment about how I could have actually reserved some ads and fucking won this week very easily. The guy is apparently coming off a family emergency. I didn't feel comfortable necessarily to just plug him back in the next day. But I don't even have to worry about doing that if I didn't forget the rules of fantasy baseball in accordance to Yahoo when it comes to double headers. How the hell does someone who started this league, who's been involved in it for 20 years, forgets that once you pick someone up who's in a double header, after the first game is played, you can't put him in? So now I have to drop De Los Santos, who of course came in that day because I finally figured out Francona, 2 innings of scoreless ball. Guys, there's more to it. How about the fact that I didn't want to mess with Ian Anderson because walks and home runs given up were still close. I felt what happened with WHIP and ERA against Mike Sherman. So let me get a little more passive this weekend and not just play it all out. I'll play Kershaw. Let me not play Ian Anderson. He blows the door off the joint, has about his best start of the season. Okay, fine. Kershaw has a good start. He nearly throws a perfect game. Walks are pretty close. Home runs are getting kind of close. I mean, I feel like walks are about 7 or 6 now. If I have 2 starters, if they're both bad, I'm fucked. So let me just play Scherzer. I just need a win. I'm really just going for the win at this point, just to grab it. It's a shoot for the moon from Scherzer. I should have this win. Wait, Mikolas gets the win, actually. He gives up a home run. I'm mowing the lawn. I see him give a home run up real quick in the game. I'm like, well, that looked pretty smart because I was only ahead by 3 home runs given up. But, then the Cardinals scored like 11 runs, and then we know the rest of the story. That win could happen. I could have grabbed that one. How many relief appearances? How many relief appearances could have gotten if I had those 2 ads back? I blow the one on De Los Santos. I blow the one on Malone. And did Mike Haber have a phone conversation with AC Slater before Sunday, before he picked him up? Did they talk about what was going to happen? Hey, I'm going to actually need this many runs, this many walks, and it would really help. Yeah, man, I can pull that up. I'll do exactly what you need. I'll tell Jock not to do what he needs to do to help Ben. Thanks. Guys, it doesn't get worse than this. And if you watched the previous show and you heard my rant about how I failed to Mike, this is worse. And this is maybe finally an opportunity to beat Mike during the season. I think it was since 2017. It was a year that I had Chris Davis with a K, who actually beat him really early in the season. But since then, my woes against Mike Haber have been bad. And at least a win would mean that if we played each other, I at least had that little edge. The chances of that tiebreaker happening are slim, but it would still been nice. And this roster is not that good. And for it to fall on its face in the last 2 days where it could have just held on and given me a couple of extra stats, maybe I could have punched my ticket right there. But no, because we talked about the last 10 weeks, all I had to do was go about 500. Since then, 3 weeks, 1 win by 2 and 2 ties. It's not good, guys. It's not good. Not when you have this kind of competition. Not when I lost to Matt Losey, when I beat him, but out of the 6 stats I lost 5 of them by 1. I can count endless times where benchings or decisions to do something, or decisions not to do something, when they're in my head minutes before the game starts, and continuing to fail. This is pathetic. This is a joke. This is your commissioner and the returning defending champion. If you ask me, I do not think I'm going to the playoffs, especially with the way that I'm personally playing. I hope you guys feel differently, but it's sad, and I realize that people would rather be in my position than where they're in, and they'd rather take a tie than a loss. But I tell you what right now, and I swear to God, I would have rather been losing this whole week and lose by 4 than to watch what I saw happen in those last couple of days is I can't say any other word than a joke. By my end, by the performance, this is not a strong team, but I'm with them because at this point they could either go off or go in the toilet. The numbers on their baseball cards show they should do why I put them on the team. But the schedule is brutal, and I control my own destiny. All I have to do is win. Easier said than done. If anything else comes into my mind in the next few minutes when you're talking, I may just jump in and just like holler at you, and I'll say one more thing, guys. But I'll leave it to you to follow up here, and I'll do my best to close my mouth. Thank you so much for listening.
Mike Haber, I would be remiss if I didn't open the floor to you as well after that. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, I think that we have the tendency to be really hard on ourselves and in this league that we take so seriously. And I don't think that your performance as a competitive manager this week was a joke. I think that what happened on Sunday was a combination of, I guess, the law of averages. Like, it seemed like your team was on base a lot throughout the week. And then like Sunday, it all kind of like the wheels just kind of fell off and it evened out a little bit maybe. And my team, got on base and got some key hits when I feel like they didn't the whole rest of the week. But you did make a comment saying that, you worked really hard and something about your other manager did nothing. I don't know if that was in regards to the Sherman matchup, but there was
I think I meant to say that this time wasn't. Last week I was aggressive, and this week I decided to play passively. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily play every starter.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Nothing worked. No matter what strategy I pick, it's wrong, and I make it minutes before, and I'm thinking about it constantly throughout the day.
Yeah, no, and I get it. And
I don't want to discredit my manager, who's fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like if anyone was gonna come back. Like, I texted Joe on Friday and I said, if anything, like it's going into Friday, Mike, and I have a pretty decent lead on a decent amount of categories. And I text Joe and I say, I think I avoided getting killed this week, no matter what. Like I haven't avoided losing, but I avoided getting killed. And at about 12-8 or 13-6, when I saw the writing on the wall on Sunday, that's when I texted you guys and I said, this isn't a fantasy, this is a nightmare. And then I texted Joe and I go, here's how I see this playing out. He's gonna get enough walks to tie it, or he's gonna take runs. And I didn't know if the walks was gonna happen necessarily, but what I thought was gonna happen was the 6-out save from Duvall, and you would end up tying saves. But I said to Joe, and Joe will vouch for it, I said 10-10. And I said it well before it was close to that.
Oh, it was still 12-8 at that point.
Yeah. So it's I'm sorry, Mike. Please continue.
No, it's okay. I took this matchup very seriously, just like you did. And like, it's always so much fun facing off against you, because I've said it in the past. I think our strategies are usually like we end up near each other in the standings, but our strategies are so polar opposite throughout the year. And so that's why it's so fascinating going up against you. And I knew for a fact I had to win innings pitched, I had to win strikeouts, and I had to win relief appearances. If I had any chance to tie you or get close, I had to win those three categories. And I was just hoping and praying that on Sunday, my offense could at least partially show up. Because if you look at my offensive stats throughout the week, it's terrible. Like most of my team is hitting under 200 for the majority of the week. I didn't have Trout. I didn't have Eloy. I didn't have Haniger. I didn't have Grandal. Like, I didn't have some of the guys on my team that I depend on. But my team, my hitting was atrocious. And to get 5 errors from Bobby Witt this week, it's hideous. I knew on Monday that I was losing errors, because I think he made 3 errors on Monday. But I know it's frustrating. I know it's disappointing, but you're Ben Nisman. You're gonna be there. You have a strong team. You have a strong bullpen. Your starting pitching fucking wore me out this week, and you have a lot to be proud of. You had a rough Sunday. That's it. You had one rough day, and that's what led to this outcome.
We
So
talk about this all the time, that like if this Sunday was a Wednesday, you wouldn't care.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's so weird how like you can look at a score, and I guess if anything, and I can't wait to hear Jason and Joe as well. But
Yeah.
If there's one thing I can say that I'm proud of, it's the same thing that I said last week, that I built the kind of league where you never know what can happen as far as the score. The score doesn't mean shit. What really matters is how close the stats are.
Right.
And when one guy has a good day and one guy has a bad day, that's all that needs to happen. And the whole damn thing flips on its ear. And that does not happen in 5x5 leagues the same way it can with us, with pitching and hitting combined.
No doubt.
Great.
Let's take a look at the schedules going forward, Jason, and then we'll we will put a lid on this one. For Mike coming down the stretch here, Bobby Russo in the long week, then you, then his brother, Matt Losi, myself, Costas, and finishes out with Ari. He's sitting right outside the playoffs right now, and it is one of the most dangerous things. Like, okay, wrestling fans, it's watching Randy Orton coiled in the corner, and you're like, he's gonna come to me an RKO right now, right? Like, somebody is gonna get dump trucked again between now and the end by Mike Haber to vault him into the playoffs. Are you feeling that too?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm afraid that it might be me. You know, me and Mike have had some epic matchups these last couple of years, so I am looking forward to that. But I'm also shitting my pants about it because this is gonna be dangerous. And seeing what you just did on Sunday, that I have to start strategizing 2 weeks away. And then also the matchup against your brother is gonna be epic too. So
very important.
Those are the two. Obviously, the one I'm watching, but those are the two that I'm really gonna watch, and then obviously the one against Joe. It's gonna you have a very interesting schedule coming up, and it's gonna be so fun to watch. I can't wait.
You have a month's worth of matchups where you face Jason. Jason's down there. That's where Jason is. And then your brother, your coworker, your nemesis, and then Costas and Ari. Like, that's going to be a crazy month you have, sir.
Yes, and a nice revenge matchup against Josh, who beat me 16-5 earlier in the season. So I am ready for that one.
Mm-hmm. That's what you've been coming back from. That one, and then the 14-7 to me, and the 12-7 to Jason to start the whole start to the season was as bad as it could have been.
Yep.
Benji, for you and your schedule the rest of the way, you've got Chris Levy on the long week, McCloskey, Christian, Jimmy, Bobby, Jason, and finishes out with Josh Haber. Jason, how do you feel about that schedule?
That's not a bad schedule. That's really not. I think, Ben, I know you're beating yourself up right now, and I get it. I've been on that side of some really horrible Sundays. But like, again,
2 weeks in a row, Jason?
I mean, I don't know if it was 2 weeks in a row, but 2 weeks in a row or 7 weeks apart, they do the same. They do the same thing. And you're Ben Nisman. So I mean, you could never count you could never count you out. I never count you out, and I think you have a pretty favorable schedule coming up. So I don't think there's a whole lot for you to worry about.
You're 24 over 500 with 7 weeks to go, and even if you take a loss to Chris Levy over this week, you're still going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, as it stands, you're 11 games up on the 7th place team. Sure,
Not a lot.
one huge dump trucking could ruin it, but I don't see that happening again. You look back on the schedule, and yeah, you've only won once in the last 5 weeks. The loss to Ari, the loss to Frank, then the win over Brian Lebo, and now these 2 ties. So yeah, at this moment, your team is spinning its wheels. That's okay. You've got 2 trades in the pocket if you want to go out and get something or do something to shake this up, or just be Ben Nisman and figure out what the second half of this 3rd trimester is going to be before you have this playoff baby. Okay, you're fine.
We love you.
Thanks, guys. I was like, yesterday I was like, I'm not coming on this show. And then today I'm just like, how could I not come on the show? You know, like it's just the wrong reasons. You know, I have a lot to be proud of, and the 3 guys that I'm speaking to are part of the reason why I'm so proud. You know, and it's just. I said, like, you know, as the show got closer, I'm just like, thank God for Joe starting the show, because like now at least I get to scream about everything that I'm thinking about that's bothering me, and you guys will appreciate every word of it. And maybe some words you don't appreciate, but I'm saying like you'll be locked in and understand where I'm coming from in some shape or form.
That was the whole point. And part of the reason and part of that family is right here in this matchup is Frank Bucco puts a whooping on a Haber brother. Now, during Big's Live last Sunday, Frank and Ben were discussing how they were about to have a tag team match against the Haber brothers, and that if they both put whoopings on them, Ben was going to be in good shape. And up until Sunday, it looked like, you know, one of those things was going to happen. But this was the one I was less inclined to believe would. So hats off to Frank for getting this win. On Sunday, steals were tied, and he gets that one. And batting average was a 14-tick advantage for Josh, and he flipped that as well. It was 12-7 going in, 14-6 coming out.
Wow.
Josh wins by 2 saves. He wins by a relief appearance. Frank wins by the triple, a steal, 7 ticks on the batting average, and 2 wins. And they tied in errors. On his bench this week, Benjamin, Frank goes 5 for 17.
Okay. Not ideal, but, you know, it doesn't seem like, does any of it play?
We'll see.
Okay. I'll go with 5 for 20 would be 250. So I guess I'll try to go 286.
294 within 10 ticks. 2 runs, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, 3 steals, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. None of it plays. Good job, Frank.
Yeah,
way to go, buddy.
Tremendous.
3 steals on the bench, and he still wins the category. That's the one that I was like, oh goodness.
Yeah, still ran away with him.
His moves this week: he dropped Dylan Bundy, he dropped Jose Suarez for Tyler Wells, 5 2/3, a loss, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 4.76, and a 1.41. I've seen this guy bouncing around the league a little bit. I haven't actually had my hands on him yet. I don't know that I will now that Frank has him, because he's pretty adamant that he's going to lock this dude up and hold on to him the rest of the season. We'll see. He added Max Kepler 0 for 3. He dropped Max Kepler for Ramon Urias 0 for 3 with a run and a walk. He dropped Ramon Urias. He picked up Adam Frazier 2 for 4 with an RBI, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. He drops Adam Frazier for Jesus Luzardo, who's on the IL. That's it. That's all. His MVP this week is not Vladimir Guerrero. That's the wrong team. It's Matt Carpenter, 429 with a 579.
Yeah.
6 runs, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Matt Carpenter.
Woo!
Because he's wearing pinstripes.
What year is it?
It's just when you put on those pinstripes, man. I would say more often than not, I've seen in my lifetime the guys that put on the pinstripes that are like, hey, you know, he is a good player. Is he a good player? Oh, he's a good player.
Raul Ibanez immediately comes to mind. Didi Gregorius immediately comes to mind.
Sure, Didi's a good
Garcia immediately comes to mind.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
There's many more we can go through, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Shane Spencer.
Oh,
Shane
Shane
Spencer's entire
Spencer.
career. You know, Shane Spencer hit into an unassisted triple play while a Yankee.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I think I remember that.
How about that?
Least valuable hitter this week for Frank was Michael Harris to the Revenge, or
Jaws?
yeah, that's the one. 100 average with a 143, a run, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Corbin Burns, 7 1/3, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 1.23 and an 0.95. Cy Yuck, Joe Mantiply, a 2 1/3, a homer, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 7.71 and a 2.14 with 4 relief appearances. For Josh this week, Benjamin, 5 for 20.
Nice. 5 for 20?
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Thanks, Josh.
200 batting average, 4 runs, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, 5 strikeouts, none of it played.
Yeah, I mean, 200 average and none of it plays. It's like Josh is having a good season. I know this is a bad loss, but
Yeah.
like he's having a good season.
He is indeed. This
He
is a
should
good
be
week for
okay.
him as well. He just ran into a team. We'll talk about it here.
Yeah. Sorry.
For his moves this week, he drops Craig Stammen for Andres Munoz, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He dropped Eric Haas for Daniel Vogelback, 0 for 3, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. He drops Derek Hall for James Karinchak, 2 innings, a walk, 3 strikeouts, an 0.50, and a relief appearance. He dropped Domingo Acevedo for Taylor Clark, an inning, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Taylor Clark for Blake Trinan, who's on the IL. He dropped Juan Yepes, whom he traded for Leody Taveras, 2 for 4 with a run, a double, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, and 2 strikeouts. More on that guy in a minute. He dropped Daniel Vogelback. He dropped Blake Trinan for Adrian Sampson and gave us arguably the best name of the season so far.
It's really good.
Samsonite. I was
It was
way
way
off.
off. It's really good.
Terrific.
Good.
It is
It's
terrific.
good.
And 5 1/3, 3 walks, a strikeout, a 3.38 ERA, and a 1.69 nice whip. He was okay. He was just fine. He dropped Jeff Hoffman for Caleb Thielbar, an inning, a strikeout, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He drops James Karinchak for Didi Gregorius, 0 for 4. And he drops Marco Gonzalez for Sam. 2/3 of an inning and a relief appearance. His MVP this week, I told you that we were going to talk about Leody Taveras. Yeah, that's because he's the MVP this week. 364 average, 417 on base, 2 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Listen, he didn't win very many stats, but this kid came onto his team on
Friday
and did that.
and for 3 days.
And that's 3 days worth of work. That is
Red
very
hot.
impressive.
Yep.
Very impressive. The least valuable hitter we're going to talk about is Trey Mancini, an 0.59 with a 200 on base, a double, an RBI, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. On the season, he's doing Mancini things, though the power isn't back yet. We're not seeing 30 homer power, but then again, Baltimore did just move those fences back, and that crushes right-hand power. But he's fine. The Cy Young is Scott Barlow, 5 innings, 3 saves, 6 strikeouts, 5 relief appearances, and an 0.20 whip. Nice.
Yeah.
The Cy Young is Jeff Hoffman, 2 2/3, 2 homers, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 1688 is like the Salem witch trials, and 3 whip with 3 relief appearances.
Nice.
Yeah, man. All right. Frank gets himself a great big win and finishes off his half of the deal that he made with Ben Nisman about you beat the Haber brother and I'll beat the Haber brother and we will help each other win. Ben Nisman, do you have to apologize to Frank at this moment?
I think so. You know, I think I should have done my part more and try to keep Mike Haber in check. You know, although even if I beat him 15-6 or something, I think we still think he's got a third of the season enough time to get himself in there with his skills with that roster. I think it's happening. But at least it puts more of it puts him, like I said, it puts Mike more in check. and have to work even harder in the next 7 weeks and maybe throw everything to the wall in order to get himself in. That might help Frank. He did a great job here. Frank was behind. He was freaking out a little bit on Wednesday, and we kept reminding him, hey, it's Wednesday. It's only Wednesday. And slowly but surely, as the weekend came along, it was looking like he was going to finish this. I don't exactly know how he did it besides what we talked about in the things that changed on Sunday, but there must have been other things that were changing gradually. This man saved his season this week, guys, because I talked about if he had lost to Jason and Josh and lose to Josh the way he was losing to Josh early, like the 14-7, like a double up, the season's over. Okay. And out of those two matchups between Jason or Josh, this was the more important one to win because that was the guy in front of him. He saved his season and he put him in such a good spot now going into that final third. He did a great job here. And all he has to do is just continue to do what he's been doing. He's on a pace now, basically. If he sticks to this, he'll catch that streak at the right time and maybe get a little bit of luck with the other matchups going on the final few weeks. He'll find himself in probably in the 6th spot. That's maybe in the 5 spot. I think that's about as far as he can go. But what is he, 12 under?
Right now, Frank sits at
how many under 5?
8 under.
8 under. Get there
and he
first.
Is 6 back of a playoff spot.
It's plenty. It's easy pickings. You know what I mean? Just crush the next team. I think the schedule.
And I think it's a good time to be facing Matt Losey.
Yeah, right, for sure. Matt Losey's been playing better though lately. I've been noticing he's been playing a little bit stronger. You never know. That might be a tougher matchup than we think is a long week. Which a lot of matchups, they get tight. They get closer to the middle as they come to the end by Sunday. But yeah, like I said, saved his season. Am I worried about Josh? Well, did the name change? I mean, we can't call him George Costanza anymore. Was the name
now we just call him Lloyd Christmas.
That's right. We can call him Lloyd now. But was this the wrong time to do the name change? Will the name change help? I don't know. He was kind of on a little skid. Maybe that's why it was time to do it. But not worried about Josh based on the way he's been playing this season. I would think that that's another guy that we'll see in the top 6, 2 years in a row to the playoffs. Josh Haber, if I had to guess.
All right. So those two guys are both making it in Ben's opinion. Jason, the schedule for Frank shakes out as follows, and I want to hear your input on this. He has got, obviously, Matt Losey this week. Then he gets me, Costas, Ari, Jimmy, Brian Levo, and Mike Sherman in the final week.
Yeah, I think this is pretty winnable. I think he can win a few of these. Obviously the matchup against you is gonna be really tough. But he plays you. He plays you tough. He's, we know the rivalry there. I think he's got a pretty good schedule ahead of him, and I think, this win was really a season saver for him, and capped off to him. I mean, look, maybe he got a little lucky. He benched Michael Harris with 3 steals, and it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
He benched 3 steals on one day. Usually that matters. It didn't matter this week. So that was lucky. But the last couple of weeks he's had some bad luck. So maybe he kind of averaged out a little bit here.
That was the one thing I was talking to him about last night on Biggs Live. Was you saw 2 back-to-back weeks of some pretty rough luck late in the week that lost you some weeks, and he was really concerned about his season. And to get this win this big, it completely undoes the 14-6 loss he took last week to Jason. Mike, I turn to you here and we talk about your brother because you are the closest to him. How's he doing this week?
Yeah, he was annoyed. He was frustrated. He texted me about Matt Carpenter, who was destroying him. But he knows he's still alive. He's still in a playoff spot currently. So I know he's happy about that, but I think he's not happy with how close I am to him in the standings right now. And I told him I'm coming for him. So, we'll see. I'm ready.
I would love
Rivalry.
to see both of the Habers make the 4-5 seed.
Mm,
I would
That'd be
want
fun.
I want the Habers 4-5, and I want Ben at the 3 and Frank at the 6.
Cool.
That'd be
Ooh.
dope,
That'd be
right? That would be
interesting.
dope, right? Like that's a crazy playoff bracket.
I would
That
just
would
be
be fun.
happy if I could find myself in there somehow. I'll just be grateful, whatever spot it is. I don't care which spot it is.
Speaking of brackets,
Yes,
real quick, Pete Alonso, no 3-peat.
no 3-peat. He's been eliminated.
Julio Rodriguez destroyed him.
All right, so this is Julio's coming out party. Got it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Real quick before we move on, I do want to talk about Josh's schedule rest of season. It is important that we know where he's going to shake out. He's got Lebo on the long week, and then Mike Sherman, then the big square off between brothers, and in week 17, he then gets Chris Levy, James McCloskey, Christian Wood, and finishes out the season bench against you. So that very well could be a play-in game. Are you concerned about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My guess is it could be that kind of thing where yeah, we're playing each other. Whoever gets in is in, and whoever loses is out. I can see it. It's not the most ideal schedule though for Josh. I will say that there are some tough ones in there that he's going to have to be working really hard. He's going to take a couple of losses in there too. So if there's just a hot manager below him that might push him out, I still see him getting in somehow, just because I'm so impressed with what I've been seeing this season. But it's going to take work. I expect it from him at this point, but it is going to take work to get in. He could get knocked out. I don't see it, but it wouldn't shock me, I guess.
It'll be interesting to see where he stands at the end of the 22 weeks. Move on to the
21.
next 21. Yes, 21 weeks.
Let's forget this is let's not forget this is a 21, not a 22 weeks.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next matchup here, and we're going to talk about Mike Sherman playing spoiler, taking a win 12-7 over Bobby Russo. And at some point, we have to start saying Mike Sherman's more than just a spoiler, but I don't think he's in contention. I think he's probably the best of that bottom group, that his team is just, Ben, you said it last week, he's annoying. And this is what happens when he has a really good week. It was 12-8 going into Sunday. In favor of Mike Sherman. Bobby had a 1 steal lead and Mike tied that. Mike had a 3 strikeout advantage and he lost that.
Yeah,
And
Bobby benched the whole team on the hitters on Sunday.
Yeah. And he got strikeouts back. He did lose steals to a tie, and he lost batting average by 5 ticks because Mike was able to flip it on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, so he wins by those 5 ticks. He does win by the 2 saves. Bobby wins by the triple and the home runs given up by a pitcher with 4. They tied in steals and losses for Sherman on his bench. Benjamin 7 for 28.
Oh wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
How does that happen again?
I don't know. Another perfect quarter. 3 runs, a triple, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. The triple is obviously the answer. And I feel like this is the second time we're looking at this, where he has benched a triple from Jorge Mateo late in the week, and it mattered. I know it's fluky, but it is 2. Once is an accident, twice is a coincidence. If there's a third one, there's a pattern. It's all set. It's all set. And by the way, it's right here, the triple on the bench. And I guess the play is to play him over Aaron Hicks in center field. Correct. His moves this week, he dropped Drew Hutchinson for Nabil Krismat. An inning and 2/3, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a 5.40 ERA, and a 180 whip of the relief appearance. He dropped Nabil Krismat. He dropped Jack Flaherty. Watch out, Brian Lebo is going to pick him up. He dropped Frank Swindell for Ryan Brazier, an inning, a save, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. That guy basically won him that category. Wow. And he dropped Adam Duvall for Ryan Thompson, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. His key players this week, Francisco Lindor is the MVP, 345 with a 424. 4 runs, a double, a triple, a homer, 6 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Christian Vasquez, 087 with an 087. 2 runs, a double, a homer, an RBI, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young, Tristan McKenzie, 8 innings, a win, 12 strikeouts, nothing earned, an 0.63 whip rather. This kid's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Okay.
kid's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
The Cy Young is Ryan Brazier, even though he does get the save that wins the category. We can also say Dominic Leone won that category for him because 2160 and a 240 across 2 relief appearances. Not the best. For Bobby this week on his bench, I'm not including the entire Sunday that he benched his entire offense. So other than that one, Ben, he went 11 for 65.
Jeez.
Okay. 168.
169. How did you do that?
Whoa.
How did you do that?
I'm not telling, but I know how I did.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
I would have been sick if I just got that.
Wow.
So
It would have been nice if you had hit 160 at 169. 6 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, 13 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The steal is the only thing that matters, and it is on the 14th. It is Jaron Duran, who, I mean, the kid's been hot recently, but really, like this kid, he's got a steal on the bench and a 1 for 3. What happened? You got to be able to get him in. You got to be able to get him in. You move Betts down, you get him in center, you play him in for Baez. There's got to be something here. Got to be something going on here. For his moves this week, he dropped Frankie Cordero. He added 1-800-GLEN Otto, 6 innings, a loss, 2 home runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 4.50 ERA, and a 1 whip. He added Domingo Acevedo, an inning, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped Tanner Rainey. Rest in peace, Tanner Rainey's 2022 season. He was doing pretty good things for Washington on the back end. A little concerned going forward. He does pick up Dennis Santana, 2/3 of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. That is it. That is all. For Bobby's key players this week, we're going to talk first about Josh Bell, 409 with a 435, 3 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, 3 RBIs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Wilson Contreras, 059 with an 059 and 7 strikeouts. That's awful. The Cy Young, Sandy Alcantara might be the best pitcher in baseball. He did take the loss in an 8-inning game that they lost 2-1. 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 2.25 ERA, and an 0.75 whip. You know what this is starting to remind me of? Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, sure. I knew that was coming.
But he's already got 9 wins with a 1.76 ERA and like 120 strikeouts. He's
They sort
insane.
of score for him.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible. The Cy Young is Jake Diekman here. 2 innings, a loss, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 13.50, and 2 whip with 3 relief appearances. Gentlemen, we're going to talk here about these 2 guys. Let's kick this thing off. Jason, was this one of the ones that we double researched here? Were there any differences?
I don't think this one was.
No.
I think
Okay.
this
So
was all you. Yeah.
we had another snafu. We're really happy that the All-Star break is here as well, but we double researched 2 of them because I'm a dumb guy this week. So let's talk about Sherman, though. Sherman did get the win here. He gets a great win over a competing team and just as another annoying loss to somebody. Ben, coming off of the tie, when you see this, does it make you think of it a little bit better?
A little bit. It surprises me less. You know, I feel like at this point, as long as Sherman continues to do what he's doing, he can continue to spoil, maybe help our seasons out a little bit by picking off a couple of guys that we normally wouldn't expect him to win against. Bigger loss for Bobby than it is a big win for Sherman. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about Bobby. He's been starting to slide here, still holding that playoff spot, still over 500. He follows my schedule, which isn't the most ideal in my opinion. I think he finishes with, who am I second to last against?
Jason.
Is that it? Is that the last matchup, Jason?
Jason and Bobby in the final week.
That's tough. I mean, that is certainly tough. But yeah, I like his roster still. I think he hasn't been necessarily on the ball like day to day as he has in years past. So hopefully he's able to jump on that a little bit more. He's also, I've noticed, had a real tough time with Eduardo Escobar on his team, because it's when does he play him? When does he bench him? I feel like when he plays him, it fails him. When he benches him, he's high. He's been a guy that's kind of streaky. It's kind of a guy that doesn't really have a lot of, even though he has all the positions, doesn't really have that much trade value. You know, you don't really necessarily want to drop him. So he's kind of just plugging a spot in your lineup. And Bobby plays with a fairly deep bench. It's
I honestly
tough.
think that that's
He's got-
something you
he's
could
got-
package with something and go get a piece. You know, if you think you need something here, I would imagine that it might be a starting pitcher. I could see him going and getting a reliever, but I think one more starting pitcher really nails this thing down. Woodruff, Alcantara, and Patrick Sandoval is the top three. That being said, Escobar has first, second, and third. He has Josh Bell, Tommy Edman, and Key Brian Hayes that he likes playing at third. So if he doesn't fit, or he's just your fourth guy in the infield, maybe that is a piece you move. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I think if you can, especially with the depth he has on his bench, I think you can afford to move a piece or two. I mean, personally, if I were him, I would go after a reliever, because Clase is great, but then after that, what are you looking at? Especially with the Washington situation now kind of up in the air.
He still does have Finnegan. That seems to be the odds-on favorite. But...
yeah. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of players out there who could use someone like Escobar, because third base is just such a thin position that, like, I bet there are, and even if you could package Key Brian Hayes, you know, and then you can get Escobar into your lineup. But I would say that he's got some pieces that have value that I think he could or should take advantage of at this point.
Jason, I'll finish up with you here, man. And this is an interesting week between these two guys. Mike Sherman is playing spoiler, and Bobby sits in the sixth spot now. He's out of the Bob spot. He's in. But I don't know how much confidence we have that he's going to stay there. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's tough, and especially, you know, we know when you're dealing with such a deep bench, it's hard to get it right all the time. And right now, he is on such thin ice that he's going to have to get it right pretty much every time, and it's gonna be hard to do. I mean, it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Also, he didn't do it this week, but I've noticed sometimes he gets cute with his relievers. He won't start, you know, Ronaldo Lopez. He has a love-hate relationship with him. So I don't know what it is about him and his benching, but it's just something there that, like, just makes me just go, Sherman, you know, he like you guys said, he's annoying. He's a pest, and he's going to ruin people's seasons. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like, how many more contenders does he go up against this year? Like,
so he's got you this week in the long week. He's got Josh after that, then Matt Losi, myself, Costas, Ari, and Frank. He's hitting a lot of them.
Yeah, so he could be a real pain in the butt for a bunch of people, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah. And we're gonna finish up with you here. How is Mike doing? Have you talked to him recently? And he's been unbeaten in the last month, which is pretty good for him recently.
Yeah, stunning. I haven't had too much dialogue with him. He just, you know, he has a newborn that he's dealing with, and, you know, of course, Richie, my nephew, and yeah, there's just always a lot going on. So we tried to get together this past Wednesday. However, my nephew has someone in close contact had COVID, so he wasn't able to meet me for lunch. So I was really looking forward to talking about our matchup and how he's been kind of sort of starting to build, and we see him making the ads, doing what's necessary, but we didn't get to. We had to postpone it, and hopefully I'll get to see him soon, because it's been a couple of years now that since I've seen him. So, but rest assured, he's into it. He has a lot of fun. I asked him before the season started if he needed a break with all these things going on in his life. He said he loves the distraction. He wants to be a part of it. He enjoys competing. So, and I also wished him on Happy Father's Day. And I also said, like, thank you for making sure that you make your inning minimum and doing what you have to, in this league, and you take the enjoyment out of it that you need to, and not everyone is going to make 12 ads every week, and not everyone is really, I talked about maybe he has the nirvana already from winning the championship in 2016, but everyone kind of takes this in its own way, like our league. It's it's our own temple. It's however you need to do it, as long as you stick by the rules that with the inning minimum and trying to just make sure you fix the roster. He does that for us, and when he does that, when he does his thing, he can be a pain in the ass. So happy for him, and we'll see. There is still 7 weeks left, so opportunity for him to really just shake some managers' heads and be like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, he's got a whole lot of damage that he can do if he continues the hot streak. And if he continues the hot streak, he's what, 13 and a half out? 14 and a half out? If he gets really hot, runs the table, we could see something, but unlikely. Yeah. Unlikely.
No, it's not a lot of time.
Let's move on to the next matchup, gentlemen. We're going to talk about Ari Nissman taking on Matt Mosey, and Ari gets an 11-10 win. This one was one of the most contested matchups of the week. It's close all week. Never got worse than 10-7. Yeah. And on Sunday, it came in 11-10, went out 11-10. Very nice. It's like corn. For close categories, Ari wins by two doubles. He wins by a stolen base. He wins by 2 walks and 6 strikeouts here. Matt wins by the triple. He wins by a win and a loss and a save. Congratulations. You also beat Ari in saves this season.
By 1.
For Ari on his bench, Benjamin. Here we go. 17 for 69.
Ooh. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that one's tough. 261.
246. 8 runs, 6 doubles, a homer, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 9 walks, 12 strikeouts. None of it plays. His only two moves for the week. He added a Jesus Sanchez who went 0 for 3 with a walk. He dropped Albert Almora for Cal Raleigh, 1 for 4 with a homer and a strikeout. His MVP this week is JT Realmuto, 500 average, 529 on base, 3 runs, 3 doubles, a homer, 3 RBIs, a steal, and 3 strikeouts. Finally, this dude's showing up this season. Where has he been? Signed him to like 100.
Philly.
How much money did they give him? They gave him like $100+ million, right?
Yeah, it sounded like 125. I feel like.
Something like that. Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
5 years.
A lot of money for like a league average hitter.
But he does other things, though, Joe. He's more than just a league average hitter. He's a pretty tremendous catcher. You can move him into first base sometimes. You need to give him the day off, but he's kind of fast.
Yeah, he's got 12 steals. That's pretty surprising.
Yeah,
that's the number that surprises me.
And he goes on these streaks that we're talking about. Like, you got to deal with him when he's cold, but like when he's hot, he can really help. Maybe not a fantasy team, but I know I watched him help a baseball team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His least valuable hitter there this week, I'm giving to Gavin Lux. It's an offer with a walk and a strikeout and a run because he didn't get into the game. He wasn't good all week either, so he only had 1 hit all week. So didn't matter whether he was in the lineup or not. He was bad. The Cy Young is Aaron Nola, 15 1/3, a win, a loss, a homer, a walk, 17 strikeouts, a 293 and an 0.78. The Cy Yuck is Lance Lynn, a full baseball game, 2 losses, 3 bombs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, a touchdown, and a safety. For Matt Losi on his bench, Benjamin, we got a 5 for 18. We've done 5 for 17, 5 for 19, 5 for 20, Here's 5 for 18.
Thanks. 289.
278.
I'm an idiot.
3 runs, double, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts, and none of it plays. His moves this week, he dropped Josh Harrison for Matt Chapman, who was the guy he kind of needed to get into the lineup this week. I'll go over that. He then dropped Dennis Santana for Steven Okert. An inning, 2 strikeouts in a relief appearance. He dropped Sam Long for Rangers Suarez. 5 innings, a win, 4 strikeouts, and an 080 whip. His MVP this week, we're going to talk about Xander Bogaerts. 375 with a 400, 4 runs, 3 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 steals, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Tommy Pham, 125 with a 222, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And his Cy Young is Logan Webb, 12 innings, 2 wins, a homer, 4 walks, 13 strikeouts, a 150 and a 108. And the Cy Young is Sam Long, 2 1/3, a homer, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 1157 and a 3. Gross. Guys, 2 of the fairly bottom teams here. Ari still fighting in the midst of a playoff run here. He's right in the middle of it right now. But this is not a good win for him. He probably needed to put a little bit more on this one, wouldn't you say, Jason?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially after the couple weeks he's had, he's been having. He's been a red hot manager and kind of doing the Sherman thing, kind of putting people's seasons to bed here, and he comes up what I would consider short against the bottom team of the league. And like you said, it was close all week. I was watching this matchup, and it was close all week. It never got past more than 3 stats apart. So I'm sure he would hope for more. He should have had more. Matt has some questionable benchings. Rookie manager. What do you expect? Hopefully he learns from it.
It's interesting you bring up the benchings because Matt Chapman is the guy that really needed to get into this lineup. On 12th, he went 1 for 3 with a double, an RBI, and a walk. On the 14th, he went 1 for 4 with a homer, an RBI, and a run, obviously. On the 15th, he went 3 for 4 with a run, a homer, 3 RBIs, and a strikeout. None of this, at the end of the day, affected the outcome. But you need to know when your guys are hot. You need to be playing your guys. Like that's the thing that gets me. Mike, have you had any? Oh, go ahead.
Well, just to piggyback on that, it's not just getting them in, but like he had places to get him in. Like it wasn't like, oh, do I start Chapman or this guy? Like on the 15th, he had guys out of the lineup, and so there was ways to get Chapman in. That's the rookie thing. You got to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'll pull up the 15th here. Mike, have you had contact with him since school's out for summer?
No, Matt and I have not spoken since June 23rd, but I think that's on purpose because we don't want to talk to other teachers over the summer.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got to be that weird thing where like your friends 9 months out of the year, and then 3 months. 3 months, you're like, I don't want to know you.
Yeah, it's kind of true though. It really is.
Here's the one on that we were just talking about, the 3 for 4 with the homer. Luis Gonzalez is here out of the lineup. You can move some things around here to make this happen. Harold Ramirez and Drury. At the end of the day, I mean, this is an interest. Drury. I'm gonna make that video at some point. I'm gonna find every time to do that.
If Jason jumped in, I was gonna do mine, but no.
Nice.
Drury.
Yeah, it's too late.
It's
okay.
It's over. How's Ari doing, Benjamin? You're the closest to him.
He's good. It's just busy. How many weeks in a row has he won now? I feel like like Jason said, he's a red hot manager.
He is really hot lately. He has lost once in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. He's lost once. Yeah. He has a tie with Bobby in week 11, but 16-5, 11-8, 12-6, the 10-10 tie, a 10-7 loss to Jason, a 10-9 win, and an 11-10 win.
I just want to comment on this as well, because if we break this into trimesters, his first trimester, he did not win 1 game. He went, he lost 6 and tied 1. And then his second
No,
trimester.
he lost 5 and tied 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, lost 5 and tied 2, but still did not get a win.
Still did not win.
And then his second trimester, 1 loss, and then unbeatable.
Hmm. So
Like,
what is
what-
the final trimester going to
What
be
is this
here?
gonna be?
Realistically,
again-
probably somewhere in the middle, and he finishes where he's at, right? Like that's
Maybe.
Occam's
But
razor.
again, look at who he's playing. He's playing, he's got Jimmy and he's got Frank and he's got Lebo. Like he's got guys that he could really do some damage against. It really,
Possibly.
really makes sad.
Do you guys believe that this is I guess a better way to ask is it possible for playing with his strategy to at least do what he's doing over the next 7 weeks, not making a lot of ads, making the minimum, just kind of playing out with the guys you have, not making really any trade. We know no trades, but like not really turning over, playing with the deep bench. I realize he's like, doesn't the luck kind of run out on? I mean, I don't know if he could, like maybe he could beat a team like Frank if like his offense is just doing what his offense does, but I would think that Frank with, the execution of making decisions in free agency is more beneficial.
So we'll go as far as these starting pitchers will take it.
Yeah. And I wanted to comment on the fact that he never adds anyone because this is a manager that, like, first of all, I don't know if he listens to the show, but I do know that no, maybe not. I do know that for those of us that do listen to the show and invest in us collecting these stats, like we care a lot about those bench stats. We care a lot about like not accumulating stats on the bench. I don't think that Ari cares at all about that. And he has basically 2 lineups on his team, one that he starts and one that he can put in if his starters aren't starting. And he doesn't care about relief appearances. So like he doesn't need to make any ads. He just needs to make little adjustments here and there. He's got the roster, I think, to make some noise, but
Can he
I don't
please
know.
activate Brandon Lau?
Yeah, I asked that
True.
in our thread if this was intentional or not. What is he doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he's gotta
Brandon Lau is
activate.
part of the reason that he had so much on his bench
Right.
this week.
When he feels like he needs to make an ad, that's when that'll happen, because you're not allowed to make an ad unless you
Unless you
activate
have an active
someone that's-
lineup. Yeah.
So
Right.
that's when it's going to happen, and not any time before.
But it's as easy as just putting Andrew Haney onto his IL and activating Brandon
No.
Lau.
This is why I'm saying I don't
True.
think a team that does this, that just like every 3 days notices that. I mean, Ari's been with us since 2003, even
No, he's a
before you,
founding member.
Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know.
So wait, you say he's been here since 2003. So has this been his strategy the whole time? Like,
I don't think so. I don't know.
No.
No.
I don't know. I think he was more into it. I think honestly, when we went into 2016, that first year where we started making moves the day of instead of day prior, I honestly, and even though Ari went to the finals that year, he beat Mike Haber in the semifinals. And an amazing matchup.
What if I were to tell you that Ari
but-
Nissman holds the record for most saves in a season from the 2016 season? So no, this was not always Ari's strategy.
Oh my
196 saves.
Damn.
wow.
Yeah, man.
So cool that you pulled that up. But
I was like, I know he
think-
has something to do with those 2 categories. Like he's got a record.
I want to tell him that. If you could like send me find a way to text a picture of that. And I can
Absolutely.
text him the picture of that, and then it'll just be cool for him to see that.
Mhm.
I hope it doesn't bring up bad memories that he lost in the finals to Sherman, but like that was a really awesome season by him. But I really think that when we started bringing more guys like that were going to be more active than him, and he realized that he needs to kind of do close to what we're doing to keep up in that way, that's when he said, F it, I'm just going to play this way.
Hey, you know what? It's still competitive. He's still winning weeks, obviously. And if, again, like I said, he'll go as far as those pitchers allow him to.
Yeah.
Cole and Cortez and Nola. Those three are the big three on his team. If those three are hot down the stretch, we could see him get bumped toward the playoffs. But we'll see.
Yep.
By the way, Frankie Montas is coming back, and he's probably going to be on a different team by in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
that could be a horse too.
Let's move on to the next to the final matchup of the week. Jason, it's time to talk about you and Brian Lebo. It was 12-8 going in, and it's looks like you gave up one homer on Sunday, and Brian got Brian had a one relief appearance lead. You took that from him. Close categories this week. Brian wins by 2 steals and 2 walks. Jason, you won by the double, the triple, 2 errors, 3 ticks on the on-base percentage, a loss, 2 walks, 4 ticks on the whip, 3 ticks on the whip, and the relief appearance.
Wow.
The coin flips be yours.
Well done.
You guys tied in homers and homers. For Jason on his bench this week, Benjamin, 9 for 33.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Ben.
Close. So close. You couldn't have thrown one more 0 for 3 in there for me.
I tried.
No, you did. 296.
We're going in the wrong direction now, boys.
Yeah,
273.
Fuck. When do I? It's the end of the show. I always end up doing that.
Well, last week you finished strong and started.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're gonna give you a pass.
One more shot.
Yep. 2 runs, a double, a homer, 4 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, and 9 strikeouts with an error. Obviously, the home run is the most glaring one. That came from Diaz on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about? Aledmus Diaz, I'm imagining. Is that the guy?
Aledmus Diaz.
That's right.
Yeah. So Aledmus Diaz here, 2 for 3, a homer, 2 walks, and the play would have been Joey Wendell or Nolan Jones.
Yeah. I
forget
forget who was pitching. I forget who was pitching for the Angels. I think it was either Syndergaard or Ohtani.
Yeah,
And I didn't like it.
I'm willing to bet that it was Syndergaard because the Houston Astros won the game, and the only time the Angels win anymore is Ohtani. That's it. The 4 walks are also interesting, but I'm not going to nitpick that. The transactions here: you dropped Aaron Ashby for Aaron Savale. You dropped Eric Lauer for Gavin Sheets over 4 with a strikeout. You dropped Kyle Muller for. Are we going with Estuary? Because it feels like it's Estuary Ruiz. 2 for 4 with an RBI. All right. You dropped Gavin Sheets for Aledmus Diaz. That was the day with the homer, so take that for what it is. You dropped Brooks Raley, who got a save that day, for Matthew Liebertor, 2 1/3, a homer, an 11.57, and a 1.71 with a relief appearance. You dropped Liebertor for Yeri De Los Santos, an inning, strikeout, and a relief appearance. You dropped Aaron Savale for not Eduardo, but Elvin Rodriguez. Oops.
More on that later.
More on that guy in a minute. Elvin Rodriguez then gets dropped for Kyle Gibson. 6 innings, a win, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 150, and an 083. I'm not entirely sure how that guy was still chilling out on the free agent list at this point, but good grab of him. Nick Martinez gets dropped for Luis Patino. 3 1/3, 2 homers, a walk, 540, and a 150. You dropped Yeri De Los Santos for the very interesting, and I don't know how you feel about him, but it's Domingo Herman. He's on the IL. You dropped Brett Martin for Matt Brash, an inning, a walk, a strikeout, a 9 ERA, and a 2 whip with a relief appearance. And you dropped Joey Wendell for Ryan McMahon, 1 for 2 with a walk, 2 walks, and an error, and dropped Jordan Lyles. All 12, no doubt. The MVP goes to Corey Seager, 321 and 394. 5 runs, a double, a triple, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter. Well, Kyle Schwarber had a really nice first half for you this week, notwithstanding, with an 040 and an 040 with 14 strikeouts and a homer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Jose Barrios is the Cy Young this week. All right. 12 1/3, a win, 2 homers, a walk, 20 strikeouts, 365 and a 114. The Cy Young is either we talked about Matthew Liberatore, but I'm going to give it to Blake Snell here. 3 2/3, 6 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 12.27 ERA, a 2.73 WHIP. That start was in Colorado, and that's where I'm gonna. Oh wait, I have to do Brian's. For Brian's bench, I wanted to start there, but we'll
It's
continue.
okay.
For Brian's bench this week, Benjamin, 1 for 9.
It's gonna be tough, but I'll give it a shot. 199.
111.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. Fuck. I meant to say that.
With a run, 2 RBIs,
Oh
and 3
my
strikeouts.
God, I'm out.
Good night, Benji. His transactions this week: he dropped Richard Blyer for Drew Carlton, who didn't pitch. He added Yohan Moncada, 1 for 4 with a 3-run homer strikeout. He dropped Zach Thompson for Joe Kelly, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He dropped Drew Carlton for Sergio Romo, a third of an inning, and a relief appearance. He dropped Yohan Moncada for Andres Machado, an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He added Tyler Clippard, 2 innings, a strikeout, an 0.50 WHIP, and a relief appearance. He dropped JP Sears. He dropped Andres Machado for Scott Efros, an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts, and 2 relief appearances. He dropped Nathaniel Lowe for AJ Puck, a third of an inning, a strikeout, and a relief appearance. He dropped Sergio Romo for Ryan Yarbrough, 5 1/3, 4 strikeouts, a 3.38 ERA, and an 0.94 WHIP. His MVP this week, we're going to talk about CJ Cron, who in Colorado this week, 375 average, 412 on base percentage, 5 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is AJ Pollock, 083 and a 120, a run, a double, an RBI, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Cy Young is Sean Manaea, 12 1/3, 2 wins, 2 homers, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 365 and a 122. Honorable mention to Corey Kluber in his 12 innings and 2 wins. The Cy Young is Bruce Sutter, 2/3 of an inning, a loss, a 13.50, a strikeout, a 3 WHIP, and 1 relief appearance. Now we can get started here. Jason, I was going to kick this thing off with the Blake Snell play. Blake Snell play was in Colorado, and it doesn't come back to bite you too hard if we're being honest, because you still win walks, you still win ERA and WHIP, and was there ever a thought of benching that guy in Colorado?
Yes, of course, but I took a chance. I saw that, Lebo had pitched Sean Manaea in that same series, and he did well. Snell was coming off of 2 good starts, including one against the Dodgers. So I feel like maybe he was, figuring things out. Took a shot. I know it's Colorado, but I still don't trust that the Rockies are always going to do well offensively. They've shown at times that they don't score at home. So I took a shot.
I mean, it wasn't an awful start. Like, it didn't blow you up in any way. It was just an interesting choice of where to go with that particular player.
And it was the walks. I mean, he walked 6 guys,
Yeah.
which he could have done that at home.
Yeah.
So that the ballpark really didn't factor there.
No, it doesn't look like it did all that much. All right, that was the one question I had personally doing this research. Let's jump into this thing. Benji, let's start with you here. We've got 2 teams. They're going to play spoilers the rest of the season. I think we can officially count Brian out as well. Anything you noticed from this match?
Well, I was, as much as I like to root for Jason, part of me was also hoping that Brian could potentially build on the win against Bobby the week prior. He played me pretty tough the week before that. I beat him 10-8, but it was tough the whole week. So it would have been nice to see him try to, build on what he did in 2021, maybe start that streak now, but it was going to be tough to stop Jason Ashby. And this was a matchup where Brian had a pretty substantial lead in the first few days, and just it seemed like pitching happened. A whole lot of the guy that I traded to Jason Ashby, and Jason was on his way. And good win for him. Useful for his confidence. He's the teams that Jason has over the next few weeks, it just seems like he has a chance to really, really break some hearts. So I hope he does it, besides that second to final week. But other than that, he's gonna be a pain in the tush for sure. And I believe the same thing about Brian. I think that Brian, although he acknowledges what his season probably is going to be, I like to see Brian maybe spoil a couple of teams as well. He's not going to go quietly.
No, this is one of the most competitive bottom quarter of the brackets that we've seen in a very long time in this league. Now, the fact that even the 15th place team is only 16 games out of a playoff spot. When we play 21 categories a week,
Yeah,
it's still possible
sure.
mathematically.
Right.
It's incredible.
It's about getting to 500 first, though. That's the tough part that is part of that working.
Yeah. Let's take a look at schedules here. We're going to start with Jason's here. And Mike, I want you to tell me how many you think he can win on these. He faces off with Mike Sherman, and then you, and then Chris Levy, James McCloskey, Christian Wood, Ben Nisman, and finishes out against Bobby.
Tough schedule. The diplomatic answer would be 3 or 4 out of 7.
That sounds about right.
These are being so diplomatic.
This is a good time to be facing Mike Sherman, and while he's hot now, we don't know what he's going to continue to be. So this might be the opportunity. Plus, you're on a 3-game winning streak here, Jason. So 2 hot teams coming together right now might make for an interesting matchup. And you got two of the hottest teams in the league overall in Levy and Mike Haber. Where do you think your wins are going to come from, Jason?
That week 16 matchup. I'm targeting that one as a win.
That against me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't break my heart, buddy.
Week 20. Is against the other guy.
Jason has 2 matchups against co-hosts in the final 7 weeks. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a fun end of the season for me. If I can make some climb up the standings, I'll be happy. But just playing spoilers, it's fun in its own right.
The goal is to ruin one person's season in the final 7 weeks, is it not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we remember it too. I think we always at least I do. I remember since 2017, everyone that just missed and who was playing them, pretty much. I'm pretty sure. But the thing about playing spoiler, and albeit it was 2018 when I had to do it. When you've accepted that you're not getting in, the fun is that there's no pressure on it.
Right.
So that being in the race, and then once for me, once I'm in, then I might be like, wow, now the pressure's on. Now I feel like every decision really, really, really matters, or when it's the final week and you're 1 stat out, or something like that.
And being that, the 15th seed team gives you the opportunity to take chances and do things you wouldn't normally do if you were, like starting Blake Snell in Colorado. If I was in the the hunt, no, I'm almost definitely not starting him in Colorado. But being the 15th seed, I got nothing really to lose, so I'll give it a shot. Maybe he throws no hitter. Who knows?
Never know. You never know. Gentlemen, that'll bring us to the final portion of the show. Let's start with matchup of the week. What was your favorite matchup to watch? And I'll start with Ben Nisman. Benny, what was the one you were watching?
I wasn't enjoying watching it, but I'd have to say that my matchup against Mike ended up being something that everyone else could enjoy and appreciate, watching the lead just shrink and shrink, seeing one team winning for 6 days until the final hour of the matchup. It's incredible. It's so incredible that happened 2 weeks in a row.
Jason, what were you watching this week with bated breath?
Yeah, I was there a better matchup than Mike and Ben? That was what I was looking forward to coming in, and it did not disappoint at all.
Mike, are you going to also select your matchup?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of have to. It was so much fun.
Want to make it 4, Joe?
It was the premier matchup. I'm actually going to be the contrarian here and give a little bit of credit. We give a little bit of credit to James McCloskey taking down the 9-8. Pretty important matchup.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to start a new segment here toward the end. As long as Ben's team is still goodness Gritchick, you've scared me. We are doing the goodness Gritchick moment of the week. This can be anything across the entirety of the baseball universe. It could be something that happened in Japan that you thought was amazing. It could be a play. It could be a game. It could be a performance. It could be anything. Who wants to start?
I would love to, as it is my name, and just to get
That is
it
very
going.
apropos. Go ahead.
That it's not actually going to be it's going to be a fantasy thing that happened, and it's something that I mentioned early in the show, so it'll be very memorable. I don't think anyone will ever forget that the returning champion and commissioner, the guy that started the league, forgot the rules of fantasy baseball in Yahoo and picked up Tommy Malone after the game had started because he heard Dave Sims say, and Tommy Malone, he'll be the bulk reliever today. Oh, bulk reliever, automatic reliever. I should get him. Asshole. Just an asshole decision. I could talk about how Sunday happened and fell apart on me, but to just burn 2 ads like that and know that Mike, with all due respect, I'd probably win the matchup if I have that protection there versus what happened. That's going to stick in my mind probably till I'm old and gray and even later than that. Amazing.
I hope I get into the playoffs by 1 stat.
Goodness
That's what-
Gritchick. It
I don't
has
think
such
that'll happen, but
long-lasting effects. Jason, what do you got for a goodness Gritchick moment?
Okay, so there were. I'm going to talk about my matchup too because there were 3 things, and only one of them is really the goodness Gritchick. But real quick, Aaron Savali, right? So I'm thinking I'm gonna drop this guy because I don't like him against Chicago. I was like, nah, you know what? I'll take a chance. I start him. He throws 1 inning, gets hurt. Boom, done. Great. Joey Wendell. I did not start this guy because he was benched on the Marlins. He wasn't starting, so I benched him. John Birdie gets hurt in the first inning, and Joey Wendell goes 2 for 3 with a double and a walk and something like that. Great. No, the one is Elvin Rodriguez, where it's 6 o'clock in the morning here in Denver. I just got up. I'm doing my thing, and I'm looking at fantasy on my phone in the dark, and I see the Tigers, the guy, E. Rodriguez is starting for the Tigers against the Guardians, and I'm going, Eduardo Rodriguez is back. Like, I haven't seen any news from this guy at all in 3 months. He's back. I'm like, I'm looking on Twitter. I'm looking on Baseball Press. There's nothing. But I'm like, Baseball Press is showing E. Rodriguez. I'm like, okay, that's got to be Eduardo Rodriguez. What other E. Rodriguez is there? So I picked the guy up and find out that it's Elvin Rodriguez. Goodness Gritchick, that sucked.
Love that.
Mike Haber, what do you have for the goodness Gritchick moment of the week?
Well, goodness Gritchick, there's 2 Bens on the screen right now, but
I know I'm removing one.
Yeah, oh, there it is.
There we go.
My goodness Gritchick moment is going to be something me reflecting on a trade that I made with Matt Losey earlier this year, and I looked at his team earlier this week and I said, wow, 3 of the 4 guys I traded him are now on the IL. Jeffrey Springs, Michael Wacha, Anthony Bender. But you know what? At least he's got Chris Sale, because that makes everything worth it, right? Chris Sale gets hit with a line drive in the left pinky by Aaron Hicks, fractures his left pinky, and just like that, all 4 pieces that I sent to Matt for JD Martinez and Gleyber Torres are all dead, injured. So goodness Gritchick.
Goodness
I won that
Gritchick.
trade. Yeah.
Goodness Gritchick. You know what I love? I love when I see a former top prospect succeed in a new environment. And there was a guy who left the team that he came up with and went to the White Sox 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. We thought that it was going to be a match made in heaven, and it didn't work out. And now that guy just happens to be a left-handed corner outfielder hitting in San Diego, who had 4 games in Colorado this week. Nomar Mazara, thank you for being the Anthony Santander and Jesus Sanchez of this season that I have plugged a random lefty bat in. And this series, 375, 444, 2 runs, a double, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Yeah, a 2 for 5, a 2 for 4, and a 2 for 3. Done.
Wow.
Goodness gracious. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. All right. Let us move on to that time. It is that time, gentlemen. We are going to talk about managers of the week. We're going to start with Ben Nisman. Benny, who is your number 3 manager of the week?
This is a challenging one. I'm gonna start with Frank Bucco because he played a very, very tough manager with his season on the line. He had a chance to just let it all fall apart, and he didn't. He held himself together.
All right, Frank Bucco getting a point from Ben Nisman. Jason, who do you have at number 3, sir?
Number 3, sorry, Ben, but I'm going with Mike Haber here. That Sunday, I know Ben's decision making came into it, but
tie. They're giving him a tie. Win? What?
Yeah, but it was 14-6 going in to a tie. That's
not. Yeah, but it's. I mean, besides Slater, did he do something brilliant? I'm sorry, Mike. Like Slater, and that's it. It was my team failing, going 1 for 33.
Slater, and that's it? No. No.
It was Slater. It was picking up Gomber, realizing he didn't need Gomber, dropping Gomber for the other Austin. Yes, Mike played a solid week. I gave it to Mike.
Can I explain the Gomber move real quick, because it's getting shaken off like it's nothing. So
no, I thought it was great.
No, Ben is shaking his head. So innings pitched and strikeouts.
I wasn't even paying attention to it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Innings pitched and strikeouts were very close going into Sunday. You had 1 ad left. So I was thinking, if Ben adds a starter right now, he can actually take innings and strikeouts. Sure, you're shaking your head now, but that was a possibility for me because I didn't know what you.
It was never an intention, though. You know what I mean? Like it had you like in that thought, but like I was never gonna risk. I was never gonna risk walks given up at that. If I wasn't gonna risk walks given up at ERA on Saturday and not pitch Mikolas, I wasn't going to do it on Sunday to shoot.
I mean, sure, but that my mindset wasn't that. I don't know that.
No, he doesn't know that.
I'm up by 4 strikeouts and 5 innings, maybe. So all it takes is 1 starter.
You had 1 million ads though left, and not much to lose.
Okay, so let me get to it. So, I add Gomber as an insurance policy, knowing that he's pitching in the late game. And that if you added anyone, I had Gomber there. I had 0 intention of starting him. But he was there for protection for me for those 2 stats that I needed. I knew that I wasn't going to start him. I waited until 3:12 p.m. after Gomber's game had started, and I dropped him and picked up the best possible option to get runs, walks, at-bats, everything I needed, and that was Austin Slater. And I think I played it perfectly.
And that's why you're my number 3 manager.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mike Haber is also my number 3 manager, if it's worth anything here. I thought the comeback was pretty well orchestrated, and though again it is at the detriment of Ben and his team that didn't hit on offense, you still got to give him credit for the 2 doubles and the 2 walks on a Sunday from the last move of the last game to get those 2 categories. If it was just those 2 categories, yeah, we could sit here and say that, Mike made a fantastic 1 move to make it happen. But so much other stuff happened to make all of that come together. It is a perfect storm. That's why he's number 3. He's not getting anything higher than that because we do recognize. But this just made the playoffs that much more interesting. You can't tell the story of this season without that Sunday right now. Mike, who's your number 3, man? We didn't get yours.
I'm gonna give number 3 to Chris Levy for taking down his cousin, a solid 12-8. I was rooting for him the whole time. And we talked about it during the matchup, but I'm sure he's gloating a bit in, those family dinners and whatever it is, but I'm proud of him for taking down his cousin.
No doubt. No doubt. It was a really good week for him, and it showed that he's really here to compete. He's really all in here. He could very well be the 2 seed. We will see what
Yeah.
happens. Benny, let's kick this back around to you and start with the number 2 for the week.
As much as it disappoints me to say based on what he said in number 3, but I understood why he picked him, I guess. Anyway, my number 2 is Jason Ashby. I love the comeback. I love that he's been on this little streak now. Played well. Got to go with him right now. So,
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Jason
well
gets another.
deserved. Very well deserved.
Jason, are you now going to put Ben at number 2?
No,
I am
because
not.
he managed well. Mike managed better than him in the tie.
I'm not. I'm actually gonna give it to you. For
Thank you.
just continuing the ass kicking you're putting on this league and pretty much putting a stake in Costas' season, most likely. Doing what you do. So kudos to you.
Thank you, sir. I certainly appreciate that. Mike Haber, let's hear what you have to say about number 2.
Torn between my 1 and 2, but I'm gonna go with the person that needed it more as my number 1. So Joe, you're gonna be my number 2 this week, for all the reasons Jason just said, and taking down and kind of putting Costas really far down in standings here, to the point where he's gonna have to work some magic to get back into this. So I thank you for getting rid of some of the competition there. Much appreciated.
I'm stomping out fires. I'm putting out fires right now is what I'm doing. Done that
Yep.
with I did that.
On fires. Yep.
Yep. I've done that a couple of weeks now, and Ari's up next, and then Frank's after that. So we'll see if anybody can actually like make some damage happen and get back into this thing. My number 2 this week, I'm going to give some credit to a guy that you guys probably aren't, but James McCloskey deserves a win this week. You guys know why, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Ben, who's your number 1 this week?
Joe, it's you, my friend. That's a tough manager to beat. He played on par with you for the most, and you might not be number 1 if the score isn't as lopsided as, but that you took care of business towards the end and just went to the jugular. That's why I gave you number 1.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that quite a bit. I get the feeling like I know where you guys are going with this as well.
Yeah.
Is it Frank?
It's Frank.
It's Frank, isn't it?
It's
It
Frank.
has to be Frank.
Yeah.
He saved the season in a real impressive way over a real strong manager, and lives move on for another week. So yeah, big hats off to Frank.
Oh yeah, 100%. I echo every sentiment Jason just said, and he needed this, and that's I think like performing under pressure gives him that extra push to make him the number 1 manager for me.
And like if it was a 10-8 or a 11-9, you're probably not saying the same thing. But a 14-6, yeah, that's a
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's going to shake things up in our standings, boys. I am just doing that very quickly while I stall here. But no doubt, Frank had himself a fantastic week here.
I mean, did you reveal your number 1, or is that what you're stalling?
Oh, no, my number 1 is also Frank, without question. That is a huge, huge win for him. And getting back into this hunt, getting right outside the playoffs. And now he's set for this 3rd trimester. This is the run home. We saw him go on a hot run last year at just about this time.
Yeah.
If he does that now,
Yeah, he's good.
look out.
He's good.
Let's see. There. Okay. And we have got our standings as it is right now. The standings go like this. I'm still out in front, even more so now. 48 over Christian at 37. Levy at 33. Josh at 29. Mike Haber now at 26. Tied with Frank, who just jumped up, getting 10 points this week. 3 firsts and a third. Ben at 25. Jason at 22. Bobby and Costas in the double digits. And then Jimmy, Matt Losi, Ryan Lebo, James McCloskey getting 2 more points this week. Bumped him up to tie with Lebo. And Sherman and Ari. The tracker looks like this, gentlemen. We are once again we're starting to see stripes. And the stripes is when things get interesting, because that's when guys start solidifying their ability to go to the playoffs. You know, when you see a whole bunch of colors moving all over the place, you don't really obviously see a lot of movement. And that's what we're getting here. Look at this.
But look at that
Top.
red.
The red's coming. The red's going to
Yeah.
come, and it's going to, if he wins again, he's going to pop back into this.
Yeah.
The ecto cooler color has been the most recent riser here. That would be Mike Haber.
Why is Costas like a poop brown color?
I'm
Maybe
just
I got,
running
like,
out of
some
colors,
weird
man. At some point, you
mustard-
need colors.
Yeah,
I
you
got,
need
like,
colors.
Yours is gold, Ben, because you're the champion.
Oh, thanks. I thought it was.
I like gold.
mustard, yeah, mustard yellow.
No, it's gold because Ben's the champion.
Brown mustard.
I speak
Jason got
pretty
the Mets
status quo
orange.
here.
You got the gold. And Mike got, the ecto cooler green because I wanted him to stand out so I knew where the hell he was all. Frank got
Have
red.
I really
because
been in the
Bounty Hunter.
same place for 5 weeks?
5 weeks in a row. Ari got purple because process of elimination. Yeah. Most and worst this week. Frank led the way with 43 runs. 4 guys had 16 doubles this week, by the way.
Jeez.
Wow.
That was kind of weird. 5 guys had 2 triples this week. Frank had a big output there with 15 homers, 46 RBIs. We're not seeing here any records get broken. Nothing was topping this week. It was a pretty boring week. On the fewest side, Christian only had 3 doubles. That does tie the season record here. That might have been it. Yeah. Oh, Ari once again tied his own record for the 3rd time this season with only having 4 relief appearances in a week.
Nice.
Feel like
My
that one's
My whipper ERA, did that lead anything?
led the week. It didn't lead the league. Your 087 is still 9 ticks worse than my 078 earlier this season. But we have seen a lot of really low whips this year. 087, 098, 02 with 079, 082, 080, 078 still stands as the top one right now. And then, of course, we have the guys who like to throw to ERAs sub 1. Jason, Matt Losey.
Yeah, Matt.
Frank for like 5 days.
Yeah, crazy.
Guys, that'll do it for us this week. I thank you all for being here. Benji, are you in a little better spirits now that you've let it all out?
It has helped. I will admit it has helped a little bit. And it certainly could have been worse. Expecting to come out of this week with a loss. Guys, thanks for giving me the time to talk about it. Thanks for taking the time tonight. It's been a long one, but I appreciate you guys being on the show. Be with me, that we can all be together. Great job by the league as always. Continues to get crazier. Enjoy the break.
Absolutely. Jason Ashby, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll just put a little nugget that we have a new home run derby champion, and it is your man Juan Soto.
Oh my God.
He beats
Guys,
out.
do you remember last year when he was like sputtering to the All-Star break and he won the home run derby and it straightened his swing out and he was fucking nuts?
He
Sure.
walked off. He walked it off against Mike's man, Julio Rodriguez.
That's fun. That's a fun matchup.
That is a fun final. That is a fun
Yep.
final. Jason, thank you so much, my friend. Mike Haber, thank you for being here as well. I know you're staying up late. You got kids to take care of.
Yes, I do. But it's a pleasure being back with all 4 of us back on the show. Ben, hats off to you. It was a great matchup. I know you're disappointed with the result, but like I loved every second of it, and it's an honor to face off against you. So appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime, Mike. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being part of this league or being a fan of this league. If you are new here, please click the subscribe button, ring that bell so that you know when we go live and when we upload new content. Follow us on TikTok. I just uploaded a new TikTok from about a 3-hour session that we were at maybe a month ago. It's kind of funny. You should check it out. Frank was drinking a little bit. It's kind of funny. So TikTok at It's the Bigs Podcast, Instagram at It's the Bigs Podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or any of the other streaming platforms, thank you so much. Share this with your league mates. We really want to grow this community, and we've really taken on such a wonderful league in the Doubleday that is going to be joining us in a crossover league. As it stands right now, guys, that has 10 members in it. And I think we're hitting a wall where there aren't too many other guys interested. So we might just have this be a 10-teamer. We'll see. Some more housekeeping things to take care of here. Next week, obviously, we don't have a matchup to break down since we'll be in the middle of the matchup. So we're going to do a year-long draft review. I have a lot of little side projects I've been working on all year for you boys. That'll be some fun stuff. So that'll be next week. What else do we have going on, boys? I think we've got
I have a couple.
Go ahead, Benji.
All right, number one is that everyone should understand that you need to make your ads, your 12 ads last through this week into next. Not reset after Sunday, 12 per matchup. That's the first. And secondly, and I'll leave this to you, Joe, how we're handling the trade rule, the Tuesday trade rule for this deadline.
Yes. So the trade deadline does in fact fall on the second Thursday of this matchup. With our trade rule in place that any trade made after Tuesday last pitch goes to the following week, Ben has made the decision that we will be foregoing what is tomorrow, and any trades that are made between now and next Tuesday will be made immediately. Exactly. Final Tuesday. But you will still have Wednesday and Thursday before the trade deadline for deals that will go through the following Monday. So you've got now a week until you get your guys for this week on the long matchup and before the trade deadline. And then 2 more days to fortify yourself for the final 6 weeks after that. I think that covers everything. It's been real. It's been fun. And it is always real fun in the bigs. We will see you guys next week for the draft review. Have fun, guys.